Hello, please be advised that the following episode of Comic Book Movie Oblivion covers topics that shouldn't be listened to by anyone ever. No, by which I mean this is an episode that is suitable for adults only. So please, don't listen.
We're not here for a huggling and duggling. We're here to fuck.
Okay.
Okay, what?
I'll fuck your son.
Great.
Hello, and welcome to Comic Book Movie Oblivion, the podcast about feature films based on comic books and comic strips that people are not talking about yet. We're your hosts, Jordan and Kumar, that's me.
And me.
And this week we're talking about Fuck My Son from 2025. If Killer Condom was too soft for you, boy, we got the movie for you. I will say we're going to have serious spoilers this week, because this comic is very hard to get, and the movie is in a very limited release, and might not be out on video for a year or ever, depending.
It certainly isn't coming to streaming.
No. So,
no streaming service will touch this.
Yeah.
Even if Todd were willing to sell it to him, which he's not.
Yes. So we're going to discuss a lot of the plot, which you might be trying to get a hold of, and you're trying to buy this comic or find it somewhere waiting to see this movie. We're going to spoil it. Or you might be like, well, I'm never going to be able to find this comic or see this movie in my town. So you can just listen to the podcast and we'll cover all of it.
Indeed.
We have a very special treat this week, which is I interviewed the writer and director of the movie, Todd Rohal.
Amazing.
Great interview. It was very fun to talk to. So I think we'll just roll the tape. Okay, I'm talking with Todd Rohal, director of Fuck My Son. Thank you very much for coming on, Todd.
Thank you.
Do you want any adjectives before director, like underground or alternative or anything like that?
I'm still in the. I would guess just say trying. What's the right word for that?
Nascent?
Yes. Yeah, I wouldn't categorize myself as a anything. Yeah, still nascent is a perfect word.
Okay.
That's what I should name my son if I had one.
So normally I would be reluctant to interview the director of a movie on this podcast, because normally what we do is when we have interviews, which is rarely, we'll run the interview first and then we'll do our normal recording, which involves talking about the comic, talking about the movie, and then whether we liked them or not. But I kind of got I've always been thought to myself, I wouldn't want to have a director on because what if we don't like the movie? But I kind of get the sense that you probably maybe don't care. I love the movie, but I know as we were driving back and my podcasting partner was in the car, he kind of hinted that maybe he didn't like the movie. But then I was like, is Todd Rohal really going to care if he didn't like it or not?
I mean, I want you to like it, so yeah. I guess it's funny. It's like, I guess the divisiveness of this movie is really coming out. But like, as much as like as much as I know that Johnny's comics are divisive, I love them, and it's like, and it's hard for I can understand why. I mean, I shouldn't say I guess I can understand why. I understand why they're divisive. Yeah. But then when we made this movie, whenever I'm making something, I'm like, everyone's going to love this, and I think you want, if there's a movie that you love, I would think that the director is also thinking that, that there's going to be somebody that hates it and they want them to hate it. So no, I guess the answer is no. I'm bummed when people don't like it. I don't want anyone to waste their time. I don't want to waste my time.
Right. So we're probably also going to have a lot of spoilers in here. I hope you don't mind, because obviously the movie hasn't come out on video or won't for quite a while yet. It's still doing kind of a road show. I was really surprised we had the Australian screenings, actually. I thought I would have to wait a year for sure to get a DVD of this thing.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky. Okay, first can we talk about your background in filmmaking? How did you start out? I actually went through your Vimeo and I watched almost everything that was on there except for the very first, The Guatemalan Handshake.
Oh my
And I
God.
also did find Nature Calls, and I watched that.
Oh, yeah, we can talk
Um,
about.
but how did you? There's a lot of short films on there. There's two feature lengths on your Vimeo plus Nature Calls, so three. Oh, now there's Fuck My Son as well. So how'd you get started out? What's the background?
Um, I just since kindergarten wanted to make movies. I didn't know I wanted to make these kind of movies,
Okay.
but started to really heavily in high school gravitate towards things that were. Well, I should say I was raised in Ohio, which is, Midwest US, and, and graduated high school in 94. So it's like, going to elementary school in the 80s, there was not much counterculture stuff there. There was not much like underground or those kind of things. I didn't know what it was, but I was, I think affected like a lot of people during that time of, Pee-wee's Playhouse, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. There was a lot of subversiveness that was put into kids stuff then,
Yeah.
and I was heavily attracted to that stuff, really pulled in those directions. And you hear a lot of people talking about that now that have gone on to a lot of different things. But I think it was like, I didn't have access to like until high school, like into like what gay culture was and what these other
Mm-hmm.
things were going on. When my friend's dad showed me Pink Flamingos, huge effect on me.
Right.
Just like and reading, getting John Waters' book, Shock Value, and reading about that group of people making those movies and like the idea, like, well, we could have been Manson killers, Manson family type people, but we made movies instead. And and it's like just a real strong attraction to those people and those kind of things, and that just led to paths of like other kind of music and movies and what else is out there. I went to film school and like not so interested in French New Wave cinema. It's just like it didn't really stick with me like it did with a lot of other people.
Where
But I
did you go to
kept
film school?
in Ohio in
Okay.
a small school called Ohio University, or a small program in the Ohio University film program. But it was all kind of art students and just like
Mm-hmm.
people kind of stumbling into the program, like a great mix of people that were not like, oh, how can I jumpstart my Hollywood career, and we made really messed up, wild things. And I saw Gummo around that time
Okay.
and like in the theater. And when I was watching Gummo, and this maybe is the same thing, it's like I was sure the world was going to change. I saw it, and it was my first trip to LA. I saw the poster, and it was at the Lemley Theater in, I forget what part of town it was. And I said, God, I want that poster. I want to, yeah, I'm gonna go see this. And then during it, I was convinced that this world was going to change because of this movie. This was the revolution that I wanted. And afterwards, the lights come up, and some guy behind me is like, "That fucking sucked," it's like immediately. And I was like, "How did it?" Like, and so I've always had been pulled towards that stuff, but not because someone else dislikes it, but
Mm-hmm.
it was like I loved Gum. I talked about it and
Mm-hmm.
talked about it, and then when it finally came out in video, showed everybody in college, and they some loved it, some hated it,
Mm-hmm.
but it really opened a door for me of like, oh man, that guy's like 22 years old making this thing, and
Right.
just kind of, and it was based in Ohio, it was based on Midwestern stories, but um yeah, I don't know. So like I think by making this movie or finding this movie now, it's like, oh, I feel a part of that. I
Right.
feel most connected to those things that influenced me. And
Right.
I don't think and John Waters didn't want people to hate his movies as much as he says he does, like Divine didn't want people to hate him, like Harmony Korine didn't want anybody to hate Gummo. Those movies are made with love and they're real great things, to me. So yeah, I guess I find myself in that spot and
Right.
not psyched about it because I don't want, I just don't, I thought it would be a fun time in the movie theater with your friends,
Right.
That's what,
So you make a bunch of student shorts, and then you make Guatemalan Handshake. Was that the order that things happen in?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I did like four short films. They were all, yeah, all shot on film. Like, we were totally in the film world of stuff then, Avid and digital stuff just coming in. And Yeah, and then I decided to do a feature that we'd shoot on 35 anamorphic
Okay.
widescreen film that like with non-actors in this town in Pennsylvania, mostly non-actors, and that it like find local people and make a movie that felt like it was big, felt like it didn't have
Okay.
any right to tell this story. It was during a time when video was coming in and it felt like, oh, we're going to tell these little stories, but I like the idea of doing something that was a little fantastical about
Hmm.
real people on a widescreen format, and it was very fun. I mean, it was wild. We did it for like $50,000.
Okay.
I don't know how.
Yeah, how did you get the financing for that?
I mean, raising $50,000 is now, I guess everyone does that, but I don't know. But at the time, it was like, yeah, this was pre-Kickstarter, pre-Facebook was coming out at that time. So we didn't have any social media. We had a website and we sold T-shirts and that kind of stuff, So it was by the books now, but no one else was doing it that way at that time. And especially shooting on film, like once the movie was done, we couldn't even at film festivals. They'd put us in the little tiny theater because digital was taking over, and they're like, we're replacing all of this. So it was not cool. None of it was cool. It felt very old, and that we're doing something that was very not respected. I guess I guess I shouldn't say that. It was people still respected it, but it just made it harder. Yeah. So, but that movie was. Yeah, it was on film, shot on film. We finished it, a print of it, and the video copies of it that exist now just aren't good. I have never got a good transfer of that movie done. So
okay. And another thing I noticed watching the shorts on your Vimeo page were they were really special effects heavy. A lot of them. So that kind of is going to lead into Fuck My Son. I was wondering, did you teach yourself how to do special effects? Were you hiring people to do the work, and also isn't that like, it just seems like expensive to decide to do special effects in short films, which I believe there's no way to monetize a short film, is there?
Well, no, there's no way to monetize a feature film now. Right. I feel there is no way to monetize any films. Yeah, no, those were. So I think maybe the ones you're talking about were done for Adult Swim. So they gave us like a little bit of money to do a couple, like $75,000 to do these one called Mops, which is like about a janitor that builds a robot, and we did that like Roger Corman style. It was just like we're going to shoot an entire feature for $75,000, but then the idea was we were going to speed it all up and show it in 10 minutes, and then we did one called Suplex Duplex Complex about wrestlers. That was about $75,000 total to make.
Wow.
Then they gave us pilot money, which was to do a series, and those were more in like the $600,000 range, which is that's the Fuck My Son didn't cost that much. so these were to do 10 minutes in that, and believe me, like with that money, it goes very fast. As soon as you step up into union things, it still wasn't
right.
But I was able to at least give it to other artists. It was like that was the first time I had some money, and then it could be like, oh, I can get this animator to do this part. And I can get so I could start getting into a little bit of that. I wanted to feel like I wanted those shows to ultimately. By the time we got those all done, Adult Swim canceled all their live action stuff, so it never went to series. But like we got a couple episodes of them out. But yeah, the intention was it was going to be a lot of like artists working on different. Every episode would have different kind of artists in there.
Yeah, so, and there were people I recognized in there, like Derek Mears, Emo Phillips, Tipper Newton's in there, in one of them. Which also, I kind of felt like there was almost a repertory. Like there was these actors you kept coming back to, like Robert Longstreet. And were these people that you knew from before filmmaking? Were they your friends that come along with you for every ride, or did you just meet them professionally the first time?
Yeah, every project meeting new people and then bringing them into the mix, and it's just nice to write for people that you know. It's like, oh, that he could do it, and then cast some new faces and new people to bring in. Yeah, so.
They seem like they're really game. Like Steve Little, Tipper Newton, or Longstreet. Seems like whatever you throw at them, they're like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Whatever crazy thing it is. Hang on.
Yes. Yeah, they we're getting a little hang up on there. Yeah. They are, and that's it's like that's earning like I've known Tipper and Robert for 20 years now, so it's like when writing for them and having conversations while you're writing, it's not like a lot of the stuff with casting of new people too can be that you don't even know if they're going to be in the movie until like days before, so it's like sometimes those conversations can't be had, and especially if you're making something on a low budget, you want to be talking about this stuff. What are we going to be doing? So when we land on set, we're not like in a an oh shit moment where it's like, oh, I didn't think that out, or we so having shorthand, for this especially because it was going to be so performance driven. It's like Johnny's comic is so, like it could be. I think anyone pictured it as like a trauma movie, like
Right.
this. Oh, I see. This is going to be bad. It's going to be obviously cheesy, and I was like, no, I want it to be like they're playing for real. Like I want it to be like the stakes are real, and that's how. And once Johnny and I
Yes.
talked about that, like at the beginning, he wanted that too. He was like, I want this to be like she's serious, like she cares about her son and she wants him, why can't he have sex with somebody, so that's I think what made Johnny and I stick with each other to do this thing was that we got that part of it. But the only way to really do that, well, to me, the only way to do that was to find actors that were not going to question and kick the tires on something that they should
Right.
kick the tires on, like asking strangers to be like, hey, I'm going to do this thing called fuck my son. It's just this messed up. Yeah, everyone's scared, so
Right.
these people all took a risk with me, but a calculated one, I
Right.
think.
Okay, so how did you find Johnny's comic? Now, I've loved Johnny Ryan's comics since the Angry Youth Comics days, which was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I kind of lost track of him because these things like Fuck My Son were coming out in print runs of 100, 200 copies. So, did you know Johnny personally beforehand, or how did this book land in your hands, or how did you go about deciding this was the movie you're going to make?
I knew about Johnny through a friend, Calvin Reeder, who's a filmmaker. He's made some good stuff called The Oregonian and The Rambler and a new movie called The A-Frame. But he had done a movie. One of his first things he'd ever made was this a public access show in Seattle that they made a feature film based off called Jerk Beast,
Okay.
and Johnny was a fan of Calvin's show. This was in the '90s, late '90s, and so they became buddies. And Johnny's in Jerk Beast as KK Kevin.
Okay.
um, and so it was like a call-in show where people would call in and hurl insults at each other, and it was all. I mean, it was very Johnny Ryan at the time, but I think that was so late '90s. I guess Johnny was just starting with those comics and stuff, and he actually saw Calvin in a grocery store and was like, "I'm a huge fan," and so they had been buddies, and I knew about that. I knew about Johnny's comics through Calvin, and then I was actually trying to convince Calvin to make a really, really dirty movie. I was like, you should do something. I mean, he has made really dirty movies. He's made, if you want to look up any of his stuff, they get real. There's some shorts called The Procedure 1 and The Procedure 2, which are beautifully perfect, disgusting movies that have played at every film festival in the world. Um, but I was trying to push him to do like a feature version of a short that he had done and just be like, who cares about trying to sell this to a streaming network? Like, do something that's so out there that it's undeniable, like that you're making. And he, it was just not at a point when that sounded like a good idea. I ordered Johnny's comic separately to get Fuck My Son, ordered it from the Mansion Press in France. It arrived, and I heard all of my own advice being like, oh my God, you should turn this into a movie and do this as like an X-rated movie, like really go for it. And sat on that for a few weeks being like, I don't know if I can do that,
Right.
So, but that was the origin of it. And then I was just like, fuck it. No, I want to do this. Like, this is yeah, it's like, I think this is where it was, that's been 3 years ago now, but it was just like, I think this is what, yeah, this points towards all of these things that have influenced me in my life and that I care about and that I love and that I would want, yeah, that I would want someone like that to make this movie and not water it down into something PG rated, you know, like the world is seems to want to do now in
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah. And how did Johnny Ryan react when you said you wanted to make a movie? Because I'm assuming that he's the kind of cartoonist that just assumed that there would never be a cartoon or anything of his comics ever in his lifetime.
I, he's got a really interesting, take on it because it's like, yeah, you would think that, yeah, nobody's going to Johnny to do these things, but they are. Um, like the Safdie brothers wanted to make, he has a script called Daycare, which starts with a little kid killing himself.
Okay.
So right there you can say like, and Johnny's like, I don't get why no one will make this, and it's like, and so even with like the Safdie brothers taking it around, it's like they, like no, everyone's like, yeah, no, we're not going to do this. Um, and so I think Johnny was very much had been through the ringer a bit, like most comic book people. It's like they've like Peter Bagg lives here in Tacoma, Washington, where I live, and he came and did a Q&A with Johnny and I at one of the screenings, and he was talking about how like MTV always wanted to do hate comics and do all this stuff, and then there's little versions of all these things, and everybody tries. And these are good people that do try. They're not people that are screwing them over. But once it gets through the system, it all falls apart, and it's just like years of work on that. And so Johnny had kind of been through versions of that where people are like, I want to do this thing, and then it doesn't happen, and so here's me, this guy calling him saying, I want to make fuck my son. And he's like, yeah, good luck. Have at it, and then we did. So like he was kind of shocked, that it all came together, and of course he wanted it to be even more disgusting than what it is, and
It's really close though.
thank you.
I'm really wondering what he could have complained about, except maybe not getting the rights to Susan Boyle.
Yes,
But
which I agree with him on that. Yes.
It's interesting because I read the comic several times over the last couple of weeks, and it's kind of a movie parody, but it's very anti-cinematic. I find Johnny's comics he's got a real grid structure, and just the next thing happens, There's no kind of screenwriting 101 build up or anything like that. It's just this happens, and then you get the next shock, and the next shock, and the next one, panel after panel. And I was like, oh, this is a weird choice to try to make into a movie. It just seems like it doesn't have a movie structure. I really like the way you tied it together in your version of it and made a kind of movie out of it. There was stuff like that, like when we get the scene where the girl shoplifts the necklaces in the opening scenes, I was like, this isn't in the comic or in the trailer. This doesn't seem like it belongs in this movie, but yet it had a important function to make this movie actually work as a movie, which I thought was interesting. But also, I also loved that one of the things we talk about on the podcast all the time is adapting. And as soon as you sit down, you would never guess that it was based on a comic, because it starts with all this stuff about don't jerk off in the cinema. And then it's got the stuff about the 3 glasses. Yeah. And it's got musical numbers. So until you get to the final credits, anyone sitting in there would never have guessed. It's all anti-comics kind of stuff. So can you talk about the screenwriting process, like trying to make this very, I think, anti-movie kind of comic into a movie?
Yeah, these are great questions. Thank you. Yeah, Johnny did. The funny thing was, he said when he was writing this one he did picture as a movie.
Okay.
And which I did not know that, but and it was like, I think when you read Chris Ware's stuff, or for me, and a lot of filmmakers read Chris Ware, it just feels like, oh, this feels like the storyboards to a movie automatically. There's just all the pieces were there, and it really did for me. It was like the simplicity of a horror movie. Like Johnny knows this stuff inside and out, and he writes these things one panel at a time without like knowing where it's going to end, And I'm fascinated by that because his story sense is just inherent in him, and it's so sharp and so good that he's able to just follow these things through and find a natural flow to the story, or if the story's going to be big or short. I don't think that's calculated at the beginning, like from when he sits down. I'm fascinated by that, and I guess that's just in comics overall. For a lot of people work that way, but yeah, for this, it felt like a movie to me, where it just had those horror tropes in it, very Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The person escapes, they get brought right back in. I could just hear the sound effects in there. Every time they said "fuck my son," I was just like, "That's when there's a music note." It just started as like, "There's a music sting here" every time. And then it's like, "No, there should be a song here. No, there should be like there's like a maybe there's like a like an Eraserhead where it's like the woman in the radiator, singing a song every time this thing happens. Just bringing a little more to it. So I could, yeah, those things were just popping in my head as I was reading it. It was just like, how would you expand on that? And it's often with the screenplay, it's really should start as I think in a short story sensibility. Like when you start with something like the Odyssey or something, that's Christopher Nolan size thing. And for me, I'm always making these smaller size things, and they always end up becoming, building and building and building. There's always more pieces to add to the story. And um, so it's nice to start with something that's very compact, like a short story, like that. And and then that gives you some freedom to, well, one, what I should say, I'm sorry, it gives me freedom to expand on it, but it also sets, like Johnny's comic clearly set a bar for me that was much higher than what I would normally set out to do in terms of offensiveness, nudity, violence, killing children, like all of these things that just like on the page prove to me this is funny and this is complicated, this is weird. It's like it hit all of the notes I wanted to hit, but it had room to expand, and that for me was like just like a playground to go into, so like it was so ideal. And I read a lot or have a lot of things, that are like, oh, this would make a great movie, but it's kind of like, what's the point of making something into a movie if it's already on the page like that? So I appreciate you saying like this felt like you're walking into something that's not like, oh, here's a picture of Johnny Ryan, or
Yeah.
the Meaty Mates things that are put in there were not Johnny Ryan
Yeah.
comics. It's not from his world. I wanted it to feel like its own thing, completely separate from his comics, even though it would be so fun to reference his stuff, but it just didn't have any, there was no real reason that it needed to,
Right.
Um, and so yeah, I changed Susan Boyle, which Johnny brings up at every Q&A.
Well, did you try to secure the rights at all? Oh, you did. Okay. And
I
were
did,
her
and
people like, no way?
I mean, all these music people will say, I mean, like if you go to them and say, I have a movie called Fuck My Son, they're gonna say,
Yeah.
Get out of here,"
Yeah.
So, but with that one, it's like, I mean, there was things in the movie where I was like, I don't want to, I'm not even going to ask permission for this thing. But with
Right.
music, I was like, I am going to ask permission for this. And then, but then tying in, I was like, man, I don't want to kill Susan Boyle. Like she is kind of an outsider that I like, So
Mm-hmm.
Johnny would disagree with all of this stuff. But
Right.
then I was like, if we get the three tenors, then we have more carnage, So it was like more, we can
Right.
blow up more heads and stuff.
Well, it's really interesting too because in the comic, it ends with the Queen Latifah thing,
Queen
which
Latifah.
is
Yeah.
out of left field because the heroine has no reason to take revenge on Queen Latifah unless she's kind of snapped. And then the comic actually ends like more like a bank robbery movie, like a heist movie where she gets
Yeah.
shot by the cops. It's not like a horror movie, whereas your version is very much the thing is still alive and all that kind of. It's much more tied together as a horror movie than this thing. The comic kind of switches genres, just like you can see Johnny thinking from panel to panel, almost like, how am
Yeah.
I going to end this? Oh, I made that comment about Queen Latifah 7 pages ago. I'll bring that back for the ending, like just very, very randomly.
Yeah, and that's what in the writing process it was like, you're always trying to, when you're writing these, Johnny doesn't do second, third passes of stuff. So it's like you are seeing like his first
Yeah.
his first iterations of these ideas, but like then when you're making a movie, you're going over it and over it and over it. So you start to see these connections more and more, and start to put them together. And that's a big part of revision and in writing. And I think that's a big difference between comics and just and writing is that, yeah, comics often the stream of consciousness stuff that comes out needs to go onto the page, visually and like with what you're writing. But yeah, so as revising and revising, it's like, oh wait, no, we don't need all of these pieces. Let's connect, if the music can be connected to the ending story. And then Johnny and I were kicking around ideas about like, what if Fabian were to live through it, and
Right.
and his dick shooting through a hole in the wall, like that was very fun to us as an idea. So I was like, oh yeah, we can wrap this up and
Mhm.
in that kind of way. And I wanted to have something about like true crime, stories and stuff like that. A
Right.
lot of people were really concerned about the killing a child in the movie, and I was like, but this is fiction. But yet we have this whole society that's built around true crime and like
Yeah.
like making money off of people's actual deaths. And so I was like, oh, that'd be fun to tie in as a horror movie. and then wanted to wrap up the three tenors with
Right.
her. So I added those endings, and everyone's like, "We got to pick one," and I was like, "No, we don't. let's just do them all, and you can walk away with the one that you like the most, you know."
Right. Right. So let's talk about getting it made. So it's not just "fuck my son," it's "fuck my son!" exclamation point. You added that on
Yes,
there.
to differentiate. Yeah, why
Right.
not?
So how do you get money from people to make this movie
In
with that
small
title?
pieces.
Okay.
Yeah, it certainly was like,
And
you know,
also
the first
you're
people.
saying it's not going to stream, right? So your only monetization is through a road show and
Yeah.
maybe DVDs. So the investors probably know they're not going to see a return on their investment, I'm guessing.
Well, pretty much in movies right now, yeah, no one's gonna see everyone, anyone that's investing in any movie right now,
Okay.
be it this, be it what I want to say, Marty Supreme, like they're
Hmm.
not no one's seeing returns on movies. It's a bad time. It's the end of the movies.
Hmm.
And it's real. So, but with this was me setting out to be like, I did see parallels between this movie and exploitation movies of, since the beginning of time, of any kind of exploitation movies, being in nudist camp movies
Right.
to Roger Corman movies to Alfred Hitchcock movies, the way they would sell it, the way they would push it on being this extreme thing. And I love the idea of the X rating, and that's
Hmm.
something that in the US, it's different in Australia than it is in the US, but the US, that is, the MPA lost control of that rating. They never trademarked it. So
Oh, so you don't have to
uh,
submit it to put the
you don't
X
have
on
to
it.
submit it. They don't use it anymore. But when they did, like that was like porno became kind of chic in the 70s, like
Hmm.
with Deep Throat and the Emmanuelle movies and
Hmm.
stuff. And those were all rated X, the same way that like uh, they were rating like just adult themed movies at the time. And then porno makers, actual people making pornography, were like, oh, we can use the X to attract people to our thing, and the MPA lost control of it. So everyone's been freaked out about that rating since, because some theaters refuse to show X-rated movies. And I was like, well, let's just say it's X-rated since we can, and have it be forbidden. It's like not allowed to be on street. It's like to just have that thought of like, oh, here's a thing that's not allowed, or here's something that's not trying to make a corporate sale as fast as possible.
Yeah.
I think that's important in movies right now. I don't think the world agrees with me, but like, I felt that was the right way to put this movie out. To say that, I think some people do think they're walking into an actual porno,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right.
So,
So
you
was
know,
the
th-
is the Universal logo fake or is there actual distribution by Universal?
it's, no, this is something that grew with the movie that I actually love the most about that. That is not in there with permission. Because it was just when I was editing, I was like, "Oh, I love that 1970." It's from Scarface, so I can't
Okay.
remember what year Scarface was, but that era before it said an MCA company or whatever, the other things they added in onto the text, like just the pure Universal logo is so beautiful. And when movies start with that logo, or Warner Brothers and 20th Century Fox, and music starts playing with it, I love that. That's my
Right.
favorite time being in a movie theater, is when the logo comes up, music's kicking in, and it's like, I love the movies. So I had that in our cuts, as it was starting, with this. We had this band Zigzags do a song in it, and I always loved it. And I was like, why am I going to take that out? I just like the feeling it gives you, of starting a movie. And also, it's funny that, yeah, like as if a corporation would sponsor this movie now. But that got me thinking, like, well, yeah, who put out Solo, And if you watch the movie Solo right now, it's an MGM logo at
Yeah.
the beginning of Solo. If you watch The Wall, that's MGM. An MGM logo at the beginning of that. If you watch, I mean, I guess all the John Waters stuff now, I think that's all still just New Line logos. But like, the fact that studios used to put these movies out, they distributed insane movies,
Hmm.
Rocky Horror Picture Show, all that stuff. These were all Paramount, Universal, had some kind of toe in the water of subversive, and transgressive cinema in some ways. And so now when the logo comes up on screen and people are like, "Wait, what? Is this real or not?" That to me makes that having that logo in there just be making a statement that necessarily wasn't necessarily intended, but that says like, no, we should have this. Like these corporations have taken this away and made it that we don't think we're allowed to have it. And that is all self-imposed censorship that's coming, especially in the U.S. Like this isn't allowed, and it's not that they don't give a shit. Like they would give that to us if we wanted it and if we asked for it, if we supported it. The last X-rated or NC-17 movie that was put out officially was Marilyn, the movie that was the Marilyn Monroe movie that was on Netflix.
Yeah.
So Netflix truly they were doing NC-17 movies. So it's a weird thing to get caught in, to be like, oh, we know this movie's not allowed, but yet wait, we have this weird feeling of excitement if Universal's there. So it's a little bit of a result of putting this movie out, but it has an effect, and I'm kind of proud of that.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving it in for now.
Did you have to ask permission for it, or have you guerrilla edited it?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think anyone from Universal's worried about this movie right now. It's like it's so off the radar of the world, that and if they do, I'll take it out and we'll put in the Warner Brothers logo or something. It's like see how that feels. I love the Universal logo is the best.
There are some dead studios. I'm trying to remember. There used to be logos we saw all the time in the 80s by companies that just got absorbed and are gone now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's talk.
Well, there's like the Orion logo I loved with the horse jumping through the stars. No, I'm sorry, that's TriStar. But like then the Orion one, I loved. And so I think that came back. I think they've booted some of that stuff, but they all still own those things and everything. But yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the casting. My first question is about Robert Longstreet, because immediately you think of Pink Flamingos. As soon as you've got a male actor in that role in this type of movie, that was the first. I mean, I've written Pink Flamingos in my notes probably 4 times at various points, but this was the first one. Nice. So can you talk about that? Was there ever any doubt that you'd be casting a male actor in this role of the mother?
When I was reading it the first time, I got halfway through Johnny's comic and I was like, I know how to make this. I know who to cast. I know what I want to do. I know where to shoot it. I know where I can get permission to get to access to these places and do it for cheap. And Robert is a buddy, and it was just like, when looking at it, it was like, who can deliver this performance? Mm-hmm. And it's got to be an 80-year-old woman or someone who's not an 80-year-old woman. So as soon as it's not an 80-year-old woman, the door's open to any possibility. And so Robert was somebody I really wanted to work with to do that. And it felt like he was getting kind of cast in the same kind of thing. He's a certain, he is a type. And it was like, oh, I'm not going to wait around to have a part like that for him. This seems really fun. So I called him and asked him if he'd be down to do that. And he said yes. And I think he thought we would never make this movie. So when I called him back and said we were, he was it did freak him out. But and Johnny had reservations about it too, as he should. It's like, I don't want this to come across as campy or like that's a joke or and it was like, I don't either. But it was just like, it's all for me. It was just like, how can you be for certain you're going to get the performance you want, or that the movie deserves, not that you want, but that this movie deserves to have. And so Robert was down, and Johnny had a total, after he saw him, and stuff, and especially the makeup and all that on him, it was like, that works. So it's, when I watch Divine and Pink Flamingos, I'm not watching Glenn Milstead, who it was a full character he had. And it's like, I don't know, it just, it felt like there were some parallels in there with it, but not intentionally. It wasn't like hey, let's do this in the spirit of Female Trouble or any of that stuff.
Okay. I'll tell you, rereading the comic today, I saw the movie last week. I read the mother's voice in Robert Longstreet's voice from the movie the whole time, which I did not do.
Oh, that's
the first
great.
2 times I read it. First 2 times I read it, I had my own voice, and this time it was his voice the whole way through.
Wow.
Okay, my podcasting partner in the car on the way back really wanted to know how you cast people to dance naked. How hard is it to hire people that are willing to flop around like that? in your opening, in the pre-movie, the Pervovision
Um,
section.
Very easy.
Okay.
um, I wish, yeah, I should have. I wasn't good at casting naked people though. We had like the girls have to take their clothes off in the dancing sequences, and we found them through like a modeling site, which
Okay.
ultimately that I felt like those sequences should be like Porky's, It's like
Yeah.
that's like they're peeking through the hole, and it should be like giant 1980s boobs, like not fake ones, not. And I guess you have to go to strip clubs and stuff to find that stuff. I don't know if we did the best job at like casting that properly, but for the people dancing at the beginning, it was just like, they go to Burning Man and they love being nude, and there's all these people that do that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so that not hard. I will
Okay.
categorize that as low, way lower on the rung of like accomplishments for this movie.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about the production a little bit. How long did it take you to shoot this thing?
We did it in 4 weeks. So yeah, 5 days a week. So 20 days total, of shooting, which is
Okay.
insane.
Yeah.
I promised the crew that we would do 12-hour days and stuck to it because no one was getting paid anything on this movie. So it was intense, very, very, very intense. What you're seeing is stuff that was done in 1 or 2 takes.
Oh, wow.
We did not have the luxury to like really mess around and to really goof around and do stuff. It was like if we saw something wasn't working, I'd have to stop, rethink what we're going to do, and then execute that. But there was not time to experiment with a lot. So that's why you're depending on actors to like deliver this
Okay.
stuff. So Tipper's there crying and then laughing, and she's really rides a. I mean, I know for people that are like this movie is garbage, it's like that might think that, or about any movie, it's like it's very hard for an actor to ride a line like that.
She's incredible in this.
Yeah, I agree, and there's other people that I just don't I think can't recognize that this is intentional, or I'm not quite sure. I can't really tell what it's like to watch this movie with complete hatred, but but maybe I've come close, but after watching it 10,000 times, but it's never the actors. Yeah, it's like those. It's so hard to like do that, and for us, there's not a lot of options in the edit of like let's try. Here's little things we can try, and a few things that we tried a couple different ways here and there, but all of it was discussion and all of it's premeditated. Between me and the actors
Right.
and all that, really knowing what we want to do because we don't have time to mess around, which would be nice.
Yeah. What about the prosthetics? Am I right that you had some of Henenlotter's people and maybe Robert Kurtzman from like Evil Dead and Elm Street? Is that right?
Yeah, Robert Kurtzman and his wife Marcy King did all of
Okay.
it, and
Okay.
they're legends. Yeah,
Okay.
Robert Kurtzman is like, yeah, he's a whole other thing we can talk about for an hour, but he's like done so. I mean, he did the Fat Bastard costume in Austin Powers.
Yeah.
We talked about him doing UHF. He did that a lot,
Okay.
which is like
Wow.
like the Conan the
Yeah. Yeah.
Librarian and like the Rambo outfit. Like, but yeah, he did Evil Dead. He did the Nightmares on Elm Street movies, Robert Rodriguez movies. The Kevin Smith Tusk makeup stuff, Tarantino stuff. He did Pulp Fiction. So it's like, yeah, the rig that blows up Kinsey's head in the oven is the same rig that blows up in the car in Pulp
Okay.
Fiction. It's the same explosive
So are
rig.
you able to recruit a legend like that on the budget you had? Like,
He was
was he there
psyched.
for
It's like
kicks?
I
He
didn't
was there
think
for
so.
kicks. He thought it was going to be fun.
Yeah, he was like, and he's just like, people aren't doing shit like this, and
Right.
we were very lucky to get him to even consider it. But he was an immediate, like, he was on board, stuck with it, did everything that he said he was going to do for the price he said he was going to do it for, with joy in his heart, and he really loves it. Yeah, and it was so great to have that because effect stuff can be so difficult. And yeah, I still that's a thing that like yeah, I mean, might be taken for granted in the movie as well, where it's just like, oh yeah, they just got this stuff, and it's like, no, this is like months and months and months
Mm-hmm.
of work in
Mm-hmm.
there, that Kurtzman did. It's beautiful, beautiful, all handmade stuff. Even that penis that's like 12 feet
Right.
long is like all hand painted and
Right.
stuff.
I actually think the makeup on Longstreet was incredible. Like really, more than anything
It
else. I
is.
think in the movie. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I agree. It's crazy to see somebody that you've known for that long with that on.
Yeah.
It's really like imagine like a friend of yours for 20 years and then seeing him as an old woman and it's still him and still his
Yeah.
voice coming out. It took weeks to be like it was so fun to have that kind of transformation.
Yeah. So you brought up the 12-foot penis, which leads me into my next couple of questions, which are about some of the changes, because this is not a thing that's in the comic. There's more.
Right,
There's a few
right.
supernatural elements in this, and it's more tied together as a horror movie, as I kind of mentioned, including the music scenes, which you mentioned, and the music overall, and even the location. I was just wondering about that too, because in the comic it seems like it's like upstate New York or something, and here in the movie it seems like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house. Was this because that's the location you
Yeah.
had, or was that a conscious choice?
That was a location that I had, yeah, that I knew I could get access
Okay.
to. And it was completely isolated farmhouse that we could shoot on and stuff. But I live up in Tacoma, Washington, Pacific Northwest, and I was like, this is perfect for up here, just the rainy, like I thought it'd be great if we were doing it in the rain with like mist and, the trees and all that kind of stuff. It felt so great, but like the everyone up here is very sensitive. And when I mentioned I was going to be adapting a comic book called "Fuck My Son," they didn't want to hear anything else. And the people I would normally go to help, ask for help, they all said no right off the bat. So we moved back down to Texas, and that's where because that's where I knew how to make it. Yeah.
Right. So you got like an actual
Um,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre house, pretty much.
Yeah, the vibes were real. I mean, yeah, we shot in Austin, which is where Texas Chainsaw Massacre was shot up north, and we were a little more out west. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, those locations were all very, very close. Yeah.
Right. So, and also at the one of the two or three endings, Tipper actually has like red eyes and fangs and stuff. And that combined with the penis, was Johnny like, why are you putting this kind of magical stuff in here? Or was he okay with it? Or,
I mean, I think he was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
okay.
Yeah, I think because it's not in tone with. I mean, the movie deviates tonally from his comic completely. Like completely by the end of the movie, I
Mhm.
think. But I think there was some, I can't remember which endings he did like or did, because like everyone had a different opinion of which ending they liked more, and everyone, there was never a consistency and feedback on that from anybody
Right.
that was like, you should, and that's usually when you really want to listen to things to test your own gut. Um, but I can't remember oh yeah, I think he thought that I mean, with the three tenors gets into like airplane type
Hmm.
territory of just like goofiness like that, Naked Gun type shit. But I always felt those were separate movies. The endings were separate movies.
Uh-huh.
We actually color corrected them different and mixed them different. It's very subtle, but like those are each done as if they were addendums to the main movie
Hmm.
that you were watching. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
And Fabian's intelligence level. So in the comic, he just grunts. Here
yes.
he's semi-intelligent, and also his makeup looks like Sloth from the Goonies.
Yeah.
Wondering if that was deliberate, and also why you decided to make him smarter. I did laugh at a lot of his lines, and he has no lines in the comic; he just grunts. So, can you talk a little bit about
Yeah. In
that?
terms of yeah, his in the script, he was consistently just grunting, and there wasn't anything in there. And Steve Little and I talked about it a lot, like how mentally disabled is this character, and how and I asked Johnny, I was like, how, yeah, what is Fabian? And Johnny said he's a pile of shit with a face on it, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, noted. So it's like, okay, well, he's not like not like a mentally disabled or retarded man. He is a pile of shit with a face on it. So it's like it gave us some leeway to be like, okay, well, let's what. And Steve didn't know what it was like going to be like to be in that makeup. What's it going
Mm-hmm.
to look like? What's it going to feel
Mm-hmm.
like? How much of his face can move? All of that. So that stuff. Steve came when we started shooting, and we put all the makeup on, and he got to sit and look in a mirror and look at himself and see how it all moved and everything. And then he had pretty much, we shot in order, so he had like 2 weeks to kind of just sit with that, and he just watched monster movies and thought about all of that stuff, like how monsters worked, and how monsters, and especially like older Universal type monsters, Frankenstein and all that kind of stuff. Um, and so we decided, yeah, let's just see, like what kind of comes out in certain scenes if we decide we want to have you talk. So we did. Steve was the one thing that had some room to play with that
Okay.
character. So we did mess around with that a bit and had him start talking, and then Steve would just be like, at the end of some takes, be like, "Hey, let me try something," and he would just start talking and saying shit that was killing me. I mean, it was just so unexpected and out of nowhere, not in the script, not it's just stuff he had been thinking about. And there's a long sequence in there that you'll know that he's going word by word, basically proposing marriage to this woman,
Mm-hmm.
and that was not at all in the script, but he did that, and it was just so fucking funny to me. It was just killing
Yeah,
me.
I
And then
laughed
he was
really
doing
hard at
stuff that
that.
was, yes, super dirty stuff during the sex scene, and then made me rethink things. So yeah, that was not in the comic, but that really wasn't there until the day of,
Yeah,
that part of that character didn't pop out
right.
until then. And then we decided that's what he's going to be.
So that makes him more like Sloth, but wasn't planned, I guess.
Yeah,
Basically.
I would like to re-release this movie called Sloth 2, or the Goonies 2, Sloth's Adventure or whatever. But yeah, in terms of that, in terms of the look, Johnny had that look. I wanted to be consistent to every character in the
Mm.
comic. Like Vermina's dress, which my wife did the costumes on this, and she found exactly Vermina's dress. Like
Okay.
it's exactly what Johnny drew, and same with Tipper's outfit. And it was just like we got to get Fabian in there, and we
Mm.
tried having like this eye that was off to the side and actually looked more like Sloth,
Right.
because in the comic Fabian's eyes are kind of off, and then it's like, well, no, he's got to emote through all of this, so we moved it back to his regular face. And it just, once you're building stuff, I guess, around someone's head, we were talking about Dick Tracy villains a
Yeah.
lot, like I was
Okay.
trying to find something like in there, but you're so limited with what you can put around someone's face in order to get a performance or not, and you
Mm.
can lose all of it. So we had to go like, is the performance valuable, or can we want to do something that's more distorted? And it ended up kind of landing between things that look like this movie Nothing But Trouble with Dan
Oh yeah.
Aykroyd
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
Sloth.
Yeah.
And yeah, so a lot of that stuff looks, or there were things in Freaked that it felt like it came, but it was just like we were just like we could just endlessly decide what this looks like.
Yeah.
But we need to kind of, it's basically about skin texture and those kind of things. So, and then we liked that it was like this family of, like that might be connected
Hmm.
to Sloth and Leatherface a bit,
Yeah.
and Nothing But Trouble, and the Dick Tracy villains and that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. How did you protect the little actress that was playing Bernice? It seemed
that
like
was the
it's. I'm guessing we were trying to speculating in the car on the drive home that it seemed like in a lot of the shots she's alone on set, and there's a sequence which is not in the comic where her cage gets thrown behind the countertop, so she doesn't see anything that's going on. So am I guessing right that a lot of times she was working alone?
not alone, but with what she's seeing being more limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's for your friend that saw it, like a harder thing in a movie would be convincing someone's parents to let their child be
Yeah.
in a movie called Fuck My Son.
Yeah.
That is a bar that is very hard to get over. Or that was terrifying to us. Like, how are we going to do this? And actually, it was not. It was like the Kinsey who plays the role of Bernice, and it was so great,
Mm.
so great. And her parents could not have been more loving and wonderful people, and they just wanted her to have this experience with us doing it. And we told them everything. We were completely upfront.
Okay.
This is what the movie is. Gave Kinsey a script that was cut way down, but
Okay.
gave the parents the full script. And uh, um, yeah, we're just completely upfront about it, but saying like she's not going to be on set for any of the sex stuff. She just doesn't, obviously doesn't need to be.
How old is she?
And when you're shooting she was 12 when we shot
Okay.
this. So, and then when you have kids like that too, no matter what movie, you're limited time-wise with how much time they
Hmm.
can be on set. So you have to think this way anyway. And so I've made movies with kids before, and you kind of have to think like, we got to shoot all their stuff out and then get them out of here to get fed and then get them back in. So it wasn't any different than any other movie, but yeah,
Okay.
we would cover up. Well, the worst thing on set was when Robert falls over and you see his vagina.
Hmm.
That was the most disgusting prosthetic. No one wanted to see it. Whenever anyone saw that, they'd be heaving. But everything else it loses its illusion real quick,
Right.
with like the penises and all that
Right.
stuff. It's just like tubes laying around and stuff.
Yeah.
So Kinsey was just game. And like for her death and all of that stuff, it's just, I mean, kids love pretending like they're dying. I mean, like they're good at it. It's like it's fun.
Right.
Yeah, just playing.
Well, one interesting thing to me, now that I'm remembering it, is that you seemed to mitigate the violence against Bernice through the movie. So, for example, in the comic, when she's first caught, the mother throws her into the van and she bashes her head. She tries to escape and she's graphically bashed. And then she pours the hot tea on her. In the movie, basically the camera cuts away. We don't see the violence those first two times when she's bashed by the mother. And then when the tea is poured on her, she sees the meaty mates and they're like, you don't feel any pain. She's like, I don't feel any pain. And I thought, oh, so this is a line that Todd Rohal is not willing to cross. But then when the oven scene happens, I thought you weren't going to do it. I thought, oh, he's not going to cross it. No, it made it more shocking because we didn't have those earlier bits. It made it worse almost.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We had to hold off that long in order to have her head blow up, and that's the part that we need.
Yeah.
It's like you really need that to be shocking. So, yeah,
It
it's
was
like that.
extra shocking because of that, I think. Right? Like, was
Good.
that, was
Yeah,
that
that's the
intentional, or-
intention.
Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, it's like because like if we do that right off the bat, it's kind of like, oh well, they're gonna we're gonna see that by that point, and it was very fun to play with that stuff. But she needed a little bit more of something in there to be like, I felt like this is all an adult world where, well, I thought that in the comic, like she dies and escapes this like generational like violence against each other type thing, if we're really thinking about it in that way. So it's like, so I was like, oh, that's so Christian of Johnny's comic to be like the child is spared from having this trauma inflicted upon her of murdering other people down in her and later in her life, So I was like, that's very Christian. What if we had like, yeah, the Veggie Tales type characters show up, which I turn into the Meaty Mates, to tell her like, no, once you die, it's all beautiful and we're all reunited and life's just a useless waste of time anyway until we're all. So I made it was like, this is like a Christian sort of thing, and that's where I just ran with. So it felt like, oh, we can have her be tortured and then have it be like, no, 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 God loves us. And, like have all this Christian bullshit put on top of it of why we justify child torture and like then are entertained by it with reality or with true crime type things,
Yeah.
So, but I really everyone in this was freaked out about that in the script when we sent that around for investment stuff, was like, you're going to kill a kid in this. And it was like, yeah, you can't explain the tone of that until it's completely done.
Right.
It was, but it was so much fun to shoot that.
Got a huge laugh
Kinsey
in the
was
cinema.
dying.
When I saw it, it got a huge laugh.
Good.
And especially because it's preceded by the scene of the mother throwing her into the oven in this like she flies in there like Superman. It's so great that it's like two things in a row. It's like that, and then pretty soon after that you get it just kept escalating, really. I think it was things that you hadn't seen before. Was there any doubt about showing this movie with its title? Did you ever think like we have to change the title, or ever since?
That was like the line that had to stay. Once we changed the title, it's like you mentioned, I made this movie called Nature Calls, and once you change one thing, like all compromise is made in a million different things, and like when you see a movie, especially, compromise comes when movies get turned into garbage that the directors don't intend, which is a lot of the time. It's a million different things, but like for me, this movie was made as a result of making this movie called Nature Calls that was heavily, heavily, heavily compromised, and it's an impossible thing to explain because it's years and years and years of that happening while you're making it. So I was like, we don't change. As soon as we change the title, everything else changes. Like you have to have a line in the sand, and that was the most perfect thing to have there. There are other movies that have walked that. There was a movie called Pussy Island that Zoe Kravitz made, and it was like they're all talking, like, we're never going to change the title of this, and then they change the title. It's like they'll change it right away, and it makes sense. People won't put the movie out because of it. People won't discuss it. They won't take it seriously. They won't, it's like, but for me, it's like a line in the sand that's like, it's important for making it for what the movie should, how it can retain its individualism of what it is and what Johnny's comic is, And also, I think it's like it's not going to make a ton of money in the box office because of it, and it's not going to do because of it. But if it were, it's not going to be the movie I wanted to make. And so,
Right.
I think if you look at this movie like Nature Calls, and you look at Fuck My Son, and you can, I do not like one of them.
Hmm.
I do not like the Nature Calls movie and what it turned into, but it's like these are the result of major decisions on both ends,
Hmm.
of people pushing for compromise, 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 and insisting that it's not going to change the DNA of what you're doing. And this other thing that I think held true to its core, if what initiated Johnny's comic was a title, "Fuck My Son," and you take that away, you've lost the spark of the entire thing. So you're David Lynch has that in his book, talking about there's like a seed of every idea. And if we removed that from this movie, it couldn't exist,
Hmm.
And so for better or worse, it's like a thing. It's just like it is what it is. And it's like the movies certainly has a massive uphill climb because of it.
Hmm.
And it would have been easier if we had made it, but it wouldn't be the movie that it is. So I don't know what to, it's like this is a truth. I really, yeah, I don't know. It's up to anyone else to think about which decisions they would make in those times.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, I don't know.
Uh, okay, one other thing, a couple more things before we wrap up. One was before going into the movie, I heard that there were some AI bits in it. And I
Yeah.
liked hearing that because I was told this was going to be an offensive movie. And I thought, well, I've seen Pink Flamingos. I'm not going to be offended. Nothing in this movie is going to offend me. I was like, I hope the AI offends me. And I went in and it kind of didn't because I felt like the movie was saying, look how stupid this is. Like the people with the Pervo Vision glasses on. I was like, this looks terrible. And I think that I want to know about the meaty mates because I was debating about this with my podcasting partner in the car, where he said maybe that was AI. I said it can't be because the AI has to know, it has to have seen a thing before. You can't say make a children's cartoon character made out of meat because it doesn't have that in it already. So what is the meaty mates? Are they AI or just full CGI?
I'm so happy to meet you. People do not, yeah, the trouble has been like which I won't get into that, but thank you for thinking about this and taking the time to think this through. It means a lot because there was a lot of thought that went into making all of these decisions to lead to this. Yes, there is AI in it that I think, well, I think AI could be. I think there's another movie called Dracula that Radu Jude made that
Yeah.
feels like it could be the punk rock of like right now. Having access to a tool that angers people, to an artistic tool that can anger people, I'm shocked that more people aren't using it in a way to get people wound up.
Hmm.
But I'm shocked that those people, the opportunity is, within the last year to do that, and no one did. Um, but in film, I should say. But yeah, I was messing with. I mean, like all film is technology. Yeah, like said, I started shooting on film. I used all of that stuff. I learned how to edit on Avid. I've learned how to do effect stuff myself. So when AI stuff came in, a friend got me into like early AI programs with when OpenAI was just starting, like doing the DALL-E 2 program when it was just like you would be kind of test running how to make images out of text, and it would often just send you back junk and
Mm.
crazy results, and then occasionally get something that resembled what it was supposed to do. And I loved it. I loved doing that because it created these images I'd never seen before, never had access to making before. It was like a messed up computer that was like completely dysfunctional, um, and so I just never had that. I never had this. I guess my entry point to it was so early. I didn't have this hatred period where which is understandable, where people come in and corporations already kind of destroyed it, or they're selling it to you in this way that's gross. Um, so when we were doing this movie, I was like, oh, maybe I can use some of this in some way. Uh, just thinking like this is a new tool. This is something new. And so when I came up with the idea of I wanted a Veggie Tales like animation in it, switched that over to Meaty Mates, was going to animate that with an animation program that did Veggie Tales. That there's a movie called Flow that uses this
Okay.
program
Yeah.
called Blender. And I learned all of that and started putting it together. And I was like, this looks like something from the 90s. And this movie should be like current. What would a Christian meat-based animation company use to make their animation? And I was like, oh, well, fuck, they would use it. And also in the future, 2 years from now, because I have to be thinking ahead when the movie's done. Oh, they'd use AI. And then so I was like, oh, shit, like, let's do that. So I started putting together meat characters. But yeah, exactly what you're saying. At the time that I was doing this, which was now over 2 years ago, you could not just type in like make a meat-based character. I had to start with pictures of meat and then add faces to them and then patch other things in just to make the characters turn into something. It was so hard just to get it to to make something that resembled what I ended up with. And then you couldn't type in like animate them to say this stuff and to move this way. And I had four characters on the screen simultaneously. I will tell you, if that was easy, then it would have taken me 10 minutes. I spent months doing this shit to make it look like it was AI generated, which things were. Like I ran them through AI animators, but they would only give me like a motion and then like the face would distort. Or like literally there'd be animations where like a Chinese man would walk into the frame that was not cued or part of it. It was just like these were early animation AI animation tools, but I could cut together the pieces that were needed and then I had to animate the mouths on separately, like Clutch Cargo style, where they just take the mouth out and put it in there and change the eyes, and before the eyes disappeared on them and they all melted into other things. And do that with four characters and then add their shadows and light and all this stuff on there. So it was horrible. It was like if I just did it on the animation program, I could have done it in 3 weeks, and this was just months and months and months and months of work. And then I put it out, and people are like, "You are a lazy fuck. You're a piece of shit." I've gotten death threats. Like it's
Jesus.
like somebody just wrote that they heard the movie was written in AI because of this. Like it exploded immediately.
Yeah,
There's such a backlash to it that it was like literally like burn it all down, kill him, And so we still that on top of the title, has made the movie be even harder to get out. So but yeah, no, that's the story with it. But it felt all of that to say that the purpose of it was that anything that felt corporate in the movie, like the opening where it's like "Don't pee in the theater," that was supposed to be like the AMC movie theater telling you, like, here's the rules of our theater in a cinematic way of like using like film noir, like, and it's like none of the shit that you go to a movie theater now has anything to do with movies of that era. It's like, so they're using like Humphrey Bogart as like, don't use your cell phone in the theater, kid. Like, and I just took that to a level that I felt was just more ridiculous of having AI do it. And then the Meaty Mates being a corporate tool for the Christian animation company that was doing it. And then those blend in with some of the dream sequences and stuff where those felt connected. So all of that had a purpose, but I don't think 2026 is the year that purpose, intent, or any of that is ever considered. It's just a knee-jerk reaction to, I hate it, it's stupid, he's stupid, I hate him, let's kill him. It's like that's and I'm understanding a lot more about where his, like he gets death threats, he's gotten so much hatred. Everything's being taken out of its context, even though people can't imagine that he's drawing things that could have any other context than what they think. And he's such a front line of all of that stuff for us. He is like the Larry Flint of that period, to be like, if you start banning this, what's next? What are you doing? You might hate me, but if you don't take me into consideration as an artist, then you're just moving the line back towards somebody else. So I admire him a lot. I hate being in this position and having people get angry about it. I did not think the AI was going to spark any of that. Never saw it in a million years. If I had, I would have used it much more intentionally to be more disgusting or make people irate in some way, I guess. But that really wasn't the intent.
So how far do you think we are from a home video release?
It changes day by day. So I own the movie, like the investors own stuff in it, but it's completely up to us to what we want to do. And right now we're just keeping it in movie theaters, and I want to do that because I like this movie being in theaters where people watch it with other people. and as soon as it turns into a digital file, it's done, you know. So um I don't know. So it's just like I might put it away for a while, but like I mean, a week ago it was like we were looking at the last month of screenings, and I was just going to be done with it because I have to go work on something else. And
Okay. Are you a
but now
full-time
there's other things coming
filmmaker?
up. Well, if you, yeah, if you want to call it that. But like, you know, I've got other, you know, another opportunity, something I want to write, but in order to do that, I have to step away completely from this. I'm the only, you know, I'm doing this with a couple friends that are giving some time here and there, but like, I just don't want to put it on, I just, it like, if you put it on streaming, it just becomes disposable.
Mm.
And I like the idea that when movies like this came out, you missed it. You may have missed it. And I like that you guys drove to go see this movie. I mean, I'm sorry you had to, but it's like, but you did get to have an experience with other people. And like, I remember driving to see movies and then, yeah, having a 2 hour car ride back in college to talk about it with my friends. And it's like, other people would put this on, watch it for 10 minutes, do their laundry and get mad and write something bad on Letterboxd. And it's like, that's, I don't know. So if, yeah, that's not a good answer to your question, but
It's the only answer
it's
we have.
basically like a, yeah, it's like it doesn't need, there's no rush to do it,
Right.
I think. It's
Okay.
like I really I don't, it's never going to be a movie uh that's like an income stream for anybody. It's
Right.
not being seen as that. Imagine it's just like it's like a thing that was made and I want as many people as we can to see it, but it doesn't mean like um putting it on YouTube, you know.
Right. Right.
So I don't know. Complicated answer, yeah.
Yeah. Last question is not about Fat Cop, but on Instagram there was a mention. Oh, sorry, not
Yes.
about Fuck My Son. There was a mention of a Fat Cop by Johnny Ryan movie. Is this true or was
Yes.
this a joke?
This is true.
I can't find any Google hits
there's-
for this coming out except for your Instagram post.
Yeah, so well, it's not a full movie. It's a trailer for Fat Cop,
Okay.
and and it was made in AI by a wonderful filmmaker named Damon Packard.
Okay.
And Damon is genius level. I've known of his work for 25 years. He's gotten into AI in the craziest way and makes really amazing stuff with it. I paid him to make a trailer for Fat Cop that we would show before the movie
Oh,
at Toronto.
I see. Got it. Okay.
And when I sent it into the Toronto team, they were like, "You cannot do this. Like, people are going to burn the movie theater down."
Okay.
They were very aware of the anger. I was not
Okay.
of with AI.
Yeah, right.
And so they were like, "Don't do it. We don't want to do this." So I was like, "Okay, we'll show it at other screenings." I started sending it out to other screenings. We sent it to one in Chicago. The guy had a full meltdown when he saw it. We don't know why.
Mhm.
But we don't know if it was the AI. It's also very offensive, as you've read Fat Cop. Like it's there's horrible things happening in it, and because it's a trailer, you don't really get the full payout with them. But this guy in Chicago like lost his mind and was like stopped talking to us and like stopped advertising the movie. And he was like, I don't know. He said something like, I don't know what you were thinking when you sent this to us, but this is not what we thought it would ever be.
And that was just the
something
Fat
like
Cop
that.
trailer?
Just the trailer.
Wow.
Not the movie. They showed the movie. They
Okay.
showed Fuck My Son and everything.
Yeah.
But they refuse. It's like, and so we're like, is it? And Johnny and all of us talk about it all the time. And I've talked to Damon about it too. We're all like, what is it? So I'm been careful about sending it to somebody. We're setting it for some more Alamo screenings, the Draft House in the US here in a couple weeks. And I'm thinking about putting it in there. But it's like the same thing. It's like, I think it's funny. You would love it. And I'll send it to you. I can send you a link to it. But it's like, it's like, but if the backlash it's going to cause death threats to people or to Damon or anything like that, it's like, do we want to do, it's like, it just becomes like, do we want more problems right now? You know, but we have it. And the AI is so out of date now that made it, it's like, it makes it even funnier to me. So I'll send it to you, and I would love to hear your thoughts. You'll be like, oh, it's great, it's fine, you know. It's like because you seem to be, you know, everything we're talking about here is like as if we are on the same page, which is hard to find in 2026. So,
Okay, any last words you want to say before we sign off?
no, I appreciate you taking the risk to even see this movie. I know that even with people that loved, well, I think that it seems to be a good Venn diagram of people that overlaps of people that like Johnny Ryan's comics and that like the movie. But we are a small group of people out there that know both of these things. But no, I really appreciate anybody that's taking their time to see it, and I'm really curious about what it does to draw up anger, or what it is that makes people, or what they're. I think that might be my next step on this journey with this movie, is to find out like what assumptions are people making that make them hate these things, or hate this movie, or hate Johnny's comics, or something like that. So, but no, I don't. I've got too many thoughts. I'm up all night thinking about stuff because of this. But it's in good and bad ways. So, but I would like to really thank you for taking the time to talk about this. It's great.
Okay, we're back.
We're back. Okay, now.
Let's talk about this.
Let's try.
Where do we start? We'll start with the comic.
We'll start with the comic. Easy to go through. We can go through the whole plot of the comic. Well, we should talk about Johnny Ryan a little bit.
Oh, yeah, all right, yeah.
So, Johnny Ryan, as I knew him, was a cartoonist that came up in the early 2000s. He had a series at Fantagraphics called Angry Youth Comics, which he was boosted by the cartoonist Peter Bagge. Peter Bagge was a big fan of Johnny Ryan's comics and said to Fantagraphics, you should publish these. As I recall reading from interviews at the time, Gary Groth, the publisher of Fantagraphics, was like, I don't really like these, but publish them anyway.
To everyone's sorrow.
And he had, I don't know how many, he did maybe like 20 issues or something like that. And then I don't know quite what happened to them. They actually put a very deluxe hardcover, like this thing with like Guilt on the cover and stuff. Of like, I think the whole series, or maybe best of, I'm not sure. And then I don't think he did anything else for Fantagraphics. He kind of disappeared, and then I would see like his Instagram or stuff, and he started coming out with books from this publisher called The Mansion Press, which I don't really know much about. They're pretty...
Are they based in France?
I think so, maybe.
Did Todd say something like that?
Yeah, seems to be. Yeah, they are based in France. And
wasn't it called La Maison Press?
Yes, and was publishing these books with very small print runs, but they were like quote unquote graphic novels, which he wasn't really doing, I don't think, in the Fantagraphics days. Most of those, even the shorts, like got shorter and shorter. He started going to like one-page gags and stuff like that. Okay, so 2023, we've got this book that came out called Fuck My Son. Mm-hmm. It's actually called Fuck My Son, A Tale of Terror, Issue 1. I think in the soft
Issue 1 or Volume 1?
I think it's Issue 1.
It is Issue 1, yeah. You're right.
There's no Issue 2 as far as I know.
This is a very typical Johnny Ryan kind of gag.
Yeah.
Yes. This is a very typical kind of Johnny Ryan joke. A joke that starts nowhere and goes nowhere.
Yeah. Okay, so in this comic, you actually get a time. It's 10:30 a.m. There's a lady walking down the street with her little girl. We never learned the lady's name. She's carrying a Lululemon bag, so maybe we can call her Lulu. And they see this old lady lying in the street crying out for help. She's fallen down, and she can't get up. And they're like, she's like, I bruised my hip.
She's fallen and she can't get up.
Can't get up. And they're like, the old lady's like, my van's just over there. Just help me get in there.
Yeah, she doesn't want them to call 911.
Right.
She just wants to be helped over to the van. She's incontinent. We go out of our way to establish that.
Yeah.
Because she smells. The daughter doesn't want to help her because she
right.
smells. They get over to the car. Then, the old lady has a taser. She promptly tasers the mother, shoves her into the van, and then bodily throws the little girl head first into it. She then goes clunk.
Yes. Now,
into the wall.
We should say a few more things about Johnny Ryan.
Yeah, let's take a step back and talk about his kind of comic.
Okay, so art style is rudimentary. Just really dashed off quickly. I think he uses like a...
In this book, I noticed in his Angry Youth comics, he has it's much more stylized.
Yes.
It reminds me a bit of some of those comics you would get in Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
If they were filthy.
Yeah, and here he seems to have like one marker, like that's the same thickness that he does all the lines in that same thickness.
It's like as if it's like Persepolis, but way more low effort.
Yes, and low brow, like deliberately.
Oh well, we're talking about the art style. If we're talking about the comedy, that's a whole other.
Like juvenile low brow, like deliberately trying to offend in the way like a teenager drawing in their notebook during math class would try to draw something gross.
Do you remember the kinds of stuff you found funny when you were 14? But then grew out of?
Yes, but Johnny's, I think, approach is to make everything, push everything to a shocking extreme. So, like, he doesn't hold back on, like, the kids. Like, the granny picks up this kid and throws her and bashes her head. And then they drive out to this country, out to this house, out in the burbs somewhere, isolated. And she drags him onto the house, and by that time the kid wakes up. Bernice, we learn the kid's name is Bernice at some stage.
Bernice.
And she tries to run away, but the grandma catches her and beats her up. Graphically. As graphically as you can get with...
Well, the art is very simplistic.
Yes.
So, we get 3 lines of blood spatter.
Yeah.
The hair is just squiggles.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
It's very, very basic. He can draw better than this, because in Angry Youth Comics...
He did, yeah.
So this is a deliberate style he's going for.
That's right. So, Lulu wakes up. She's tied to a post. She's like, what's going on? Bernice is in a cage. Grandma offers her...
Dog crate.
Yes, a dog crate. Grandma offers her...
Cake.
She bashes aside. Grandma puts a...
Cigarette out on her face.
And then Grandma reveals what she wants. We shouldn't be calling her Grandma, but she's like a grandma. She's like 80 years old.
She looks like a grandma.
She looks like a grandma. And she says, I want you to...
Crazy old hag.
That's right.
Sorry, I cut you off right at the... right at the wham line. I'm so sorry.
Where she says, probably we're about 5 pages in this thing, I want you to fuck my son. And she's like, Lulu's like, you're crazy. I'm not going to do that. So Grandma pours some hot tea.
Boiling water, to be exact.
Boiling water on Bernice. And Bernice is screaming in agony. And she threatens to do it again. And then Lulu's like, all right, I'll fuck your son. Great. And then she gives the rules. Okay, there's no condom. We gotta wait for Family Feud to end, because Fabian, the son, is watching Family Feud.
She's sitting in the chair, she's puffing on a cigarette, and she's extemporizing about the rules, that it's some pornographic kind of dialogue about exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Lulu's not into it. So
no, when she says no condom, Lulu's like, no way. Grandma goes over, picks up the cage and tosses it, breaks Bernice's arm.
Yeah.
When she falls, and then she's like, okay, Family Feud's over, so she's about to come back. Now, while she's out, Lulu notices there's a fork on the stove.
Yeah. The stove is the only object in the entire kitchen.
Well, he only draws whatever he needs to draw on that panel. There's no backgrounds. It's just the one object. She wheels this kid in, Fabian, who looks like Born of Man and Woman. Like this weird mutant blob.
Every week you want to bring in a Born of Man and Woman reference.
It's just this gross blob down in the...
How did Todd say Johnny Ryan described him? A pile of shit with a face?
Yes, and I don't know if it was in the recording, but I talked with Todd for quite a while after he stopped the recording, but I also pointed out that it looked like the pile of shit that Bill Paxton turns into in Weird Science.
It does look a little bit
like that.
Yeah.
He is nonverbal. He just grunts.
Yeah.
And, okay, now Grandma cuts Lulu's zip cord, the zip tie off of her, that was tied around her neck, tying her to this post. And,
Lulu comes up with a brainwave of getting a prostitute for Fabian.
Yeah.
But, Mum's not into that, because that's a sin.
Yes, prostitution is against the Bible, she says. And she kicks Lulu, and Lulu falls face first into Jabba the Hutt's crotch. Yeah. And is like totally grossed out and barfs. And then Grandma like kicks the cage and is like, hurry up. And now she goes looking for Fabian's penis. So she has to reach in through all this slime. She pulls up her hand, it's covered with bugs. And she's grossed out, and Grandma says, bugs means you're getting close. It's hard to watch up there. Keep going. And finally she reaches in, she pulls it out. It's flaccid. Grandma's like, you gotta get him hard. Lulu says, well, what if I do a little striptease? So Grandma puts on this Susan Boyle CD for her to strip to. And she does this striptease, and while she's dancing, she palms the fork.
Yeah.
With some sleight of hand.
Start dancing and make it sexy.
Yep. And that was good. The grandma's like, okay, take off that blouse. He wants to see your big melons. And she takes off her blouse and she swings it around and she whacks grandma with her blouse and then stabs her in the eye.
With the fork, yeah.
Yeah.
Knocks the gun. She has a gun, incidentally.
Oh, that's right.
The mother.
Yeah.
That's how she's making her do all this once she's untied her. So they escape, run away with the gun.
Yeah.
They're running down the road. No one's stopping.
Yeah.
Finally, a police car shows up. Thank
Yes.
goodness.
Yes. And the cop jumps out, and he's like, they say we were kidnapped. He says, all right, get in the car. They get in the car. She's like, are you taking us to the police station? He said, yes, but first we have to go back to the house, because it's a crime scene I have to investigate. And then he says, okay, get out of the car. Lulu's got, I don't want to get out of the car. And he says, get out of the car. He pulls her gun on them. She says, what are you doing, you crazy? He says,
No, you're just going to get back into that house and fuck my son.
yes. Yes, horror movie twist. The cop is the dad. Okay, so they're forced back into the house.
And he's Korean, I think?
Yes.
Yes, he's
His name
Korean.
is Ji-woon.
Ji-woon, yeah.
And he's like, he thinks his wife is dead because Lulu had said, I killed that woman in that house.
Mm-hmm.
But she's actually alive. And she's upset that now her CD is scratched.
Susan Boyle's CD has a big scratch on it.
So she feels all this, she feels negative. So she needs to do something. She always needs to be even Steven. So to make herself feel even Steven, she throws the kid.
Well, first she puts out a cigarette in the kid's eye.
Yes.
And then she throws her in the oven.
Yes. And then she makes out with Ji-woon.
Yeah.
And
says, as soon as you fuck my son, you can get your daughter out of the oven.
right.
So, she proceeds to do that.
Well,
more or less.
Yeah. So first she goes down on him. Then she tries to get it in, but she's like, I need some kind of lubricant, and Grandma comes along and spits on it, and then she's able to get it in, and they're all very happy about this. But Fabian,
he has a fit.
Fit. He vomits. He keels over. They're like, he's dead. Grandma's so angry. She's like, you killed him, and she turns on the oven and kills Bernice. And then Dad...
We get a couple of panels of her burning in the oven.
Yeah. And Dad goes over and is like, oh, Fabian. And then he hears he's actually still got a heartbeat. He's still alive. So he stole some sort of...
He says, I swiped a syringe of liquid amphetamine from the evidence locker at work.
Right.
He promptly injects it into Fabian's eye.
Yeah.
We get a sort of sequence where we hear about Queen Latifah. And then...
Yes, because Grandma's very upset that it doesn't work. They put the amphetamine in the eye, and the kid's still dead.
Ji-woon is useless.
Yeah.
Ji-woon pleads that he's not useless, because one time he got backstage tickets to Queen Latifah.
And the Equalizer.
Oh, the Equalizers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
To
then
meet
she
Queen
met
Latifah.
Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
But then Fabian, he has a bad trip. What's going on?
He wakes up. Fabian wakes up and suddenly kills his dad. He's gone berserk.
Yeah.
He's turned into a complete monster.
He rips his dad's head off, eats his head.
Yeah.
Then rapes his mother.
Yeah, starts ripping off her clothes, and Mom's fighting him off, like, stop that, I'm your mother. And then, yes, he sodomizes Mom.
Yeah.
And
Mom's
reaching for the gun.
To do what? To shoot Fabian, maybe?
Yep.
But luckily, Lulu kicks the gun away, and then we get the final, fuck your son.
This is a great line in the comic, because you don't know if she means... You fuck your son.
Fuck your son, or yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't carry over into the movie.
No.
It's not as effective. Maybe not possible, really.
Yes.
She turns on all the gas. We get a very kind of action movie sequence where she doesn't look at the explosion. She walks away, she lights the cigarette, she tosses the butt in, sits down, starts crying, boom!
Yeah.
Then a non-action movie thing happens where she bangs her head on a car.
Yeah, she's sent flying and she bangs her head on the police car. We think she might be dead. House is on fire, burning down. Then we get a 1 year later. By the way, every panel is like the same size.
Yeah, it's just a 12-panel grid.
It's a 12-panel grid. It's just the next thing. It's 1 year later. It's a Queen Latifah book signing.
Yep.
And Lulu shows up. She's got this big scar on her head.
Yep.
And she's like, could you sign this book to my daughter? She can be here today because she's dead. And she's crying. And as she's crying, she pulls out a gun and shoots Latifah dead.
Yeah. Queen Latifah signed the book to her daughter.
I love this because she has no reason to...
Well, I presume Johnny Ryan needed to end the comic.
He needed to end it, exactly. He needed to find an ending. And he blows away Latifah. The cops show up, and they shoot her dead. And then the final panel is the signature to Bernice. Sorry you missed my book signing, but I know we will meet one day in heaven. Love, Queen Latifah, with her phone number.
Yeah, and we know that, because she said, you can text me anytime.
Yes.
To Lulu. Yeah.
Yes. And on the back cover, there's a Susan Boyle CD.
A Dream to Dream,
Yes.
Susan Boyle.
That's it. It's about, I don't know, is it 90 pages, something like that? But it's like rapid.
Probably less, right?
Like,
It's probably about 50 pages.
Yeah, maybe maybe 50. Super fast.
Oh yeah, that you just... I'm sure it was super fast to write.
Yeah.
It's super fast to read.
I don't think he
Well, this is what I mean. It
these.
seems to be his style, right? He does stream of consciousness, I would say.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the early Angry Youth stuff. Some of it seemed to be more structured. Maybe.
Yeah, well, certainly the art took time.
Yes.
So he must have been thinking about it at least from while he was doing that more elaborate art.
Right.
But it does seem similar. It's very, I say stream of consciousness, it's very unstructured.
Yes.
Very, I won't say postmodern, but the stories just meander and go nowhere and then peter out.
Yes.
It's very much what he's trying, like you pointed out, he's trying to ape this style of, I guess, a 14-year-old drawing in their notebook
Yeah.
during maths class.
Yeah.
But what if that were ramped up to 1 million
Yes.
and published somehow?
Yes. Yes. Okay, now, about the movie, we've got a slightly weird situation because we saw this almost a week ago.
Yeah. Almost a week ago.
I'm 51, often hard to keep these details in my head. And we usually have a rule, like when we saw Zemeckis' Here, we were like, we're not allowed to talk about it until we start recording, because we recorded that afternoon.
Yeah.
So we came out of the cinema and we're like, okay, we got to talk about this. We got to try to put as much of it in memory as possible. And even today, as I was reading this again, I couldn't remember stuff about the guns and stuff. Like, where was that? Was that in the movie or stuff? But we're going to try to break it down.
We're going to do our best.
It's going to be very
This is as good as you're going to get. Unless you can go see a screening, this is the best you're going to do.
Yes.
At least till it comes out on physical media.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so...
The starts... I went and got a drink, so you need to cover this.
Oh, yes. It starts with some fake...
This is the best bit of the film, I mean.
Cinema rules.
And I missed it.
It's like people coming out saying, no jacking off in the theater, be quiet, things like that. It's like all these different images, they're all AI generated. Although the text on them was all readable, so maybe that was digitally added after or something, or I don't know where the text's at right now.
Whoever is expounding these rules is a person.
Right.
And as you said, the rules putting up on the screen, that's just been done on a computer.
Yeah. Okay.
We know that, we heard Todd talk about it in the interview, he's tech savvy, he probably did it himself. But then we have some admittedly quite short bits where we see an audience.
Yes.
Because we're hearing the audience rules and we're seeing the audience doing the things like putting on...
Oh, well, this is the next section. That's the Pervovision section.
Oh, okay.
So there's first there's the rules if you're in the theater, enjoying the movie,
and
you
can tell that these people have... It looks fine, but you can tell that these people have been AI generated.
Oh, yeah. It's like the way the camera moves in slowly and kind of rotates.
And there's that AI
glossy
quality.
Light.
Glossy.
Yeah.
They look glossy.
Yeah. And then we get this live action section about these Pervovision glasses, which you can switch around. So if you don't want to see any nudity,
you have to pray. You have to pray to
there's a long
Jesus
prayer.
to not see nudity. And it's like, if they don't work, complain. I read. He didn't mention this in the interview, but I read that in early screenings he would actually hand out the Pervovision glasses.
Right. I saw some pictures on Instagram of people wearing them.
Yeah.
There was a funny bit where it's like the instructor is saying, okay, now switch to the other side, which is the side that blocks nudity.
Well, there's two. Yeah, the glasses are reversible.
Yeah.
With one side, you get to see all the filth.
Yeah.
And they have two people dancing naked.
Yeah.
She says that you flip them around for the chaste side, and then you have to say the prayer, and then it will automatically block out all the filth. So she says, turn them around now and start praying.
Yeah.
And of course, now there's this guy has no shame. The guy from Burning Man.
Yeah.
his dick's out.
Yeah.
They've added some slappy sound effects in. I assume they didn't mic up his groin.
Yeah.
So they've added. It's pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
This is right when I walk back in with my large
Right.
Coke.
There's some weird stuff about corporate sanitization going on here.
Yeah, that's just.
And also gives you kind of a sense of the level that this movie is going to go to.
I noticed
Although it's kind of different from the tone of the movie itself.
And as for Todd Rohal, that's a bugbear of his. This idea that this notion that everything's been sanitized, and that we've given up a lot of our kind of agency.
Right.
It's not even been we've wittingly, deliberately given it up.
Right.
And that this is his strike back against the forces of blandness.
Well, also, but at the same time, I mean, anybody who's going into a movie called Fuck My Son probably knows what they're in for. I don't think anybody's walking
the whole movie
blind.
is like a magic spell to bring nudity back.
Yeah.
It's like Grant Morrison writing The Invisibles or whatever. Except here...
The film.
the film.
Yeah.
He's trying to magic perversity back into film.
Yeah.
Bring back those 80s tits.
Yeah. Yeah. So do we get the credits here or after?
This is pretty much after this sequence we get the credits. And the credits are unusual, but apparently not AI generated.
They were like really gross. It's like you're in all this like meat or something, or intestines, or it's all just this weird fleshy grossness.
It's very kind of hallucinogenic. Everything's unfolding and spilling out with a lot of visceral kind of splatting.
Thinking about it now, I think we're inside Fabian, in that hole, which we'll talk about. We're in his hole. His genital hole.
We're one of the bugs. We're the bugs in the hole.
Okay. Now, interesting experience with this movie if you've read the comic. Because we get an opening shot, we're in this parking lot of a store. Like a clothing store. Yeah. And we get a view through binoculars. And somebody's looking at all the women.
Yeah. We can hear them breathing. And this is a movie trope. It's like you guys observed in the interview. He's movie-ized.
Yeah.
This very un-movie-like comic.
But also you think it's if you've read the comic, you think it's a grandma, right? That's scoping out somebody to take home to fuck her son. Oh. But watching the movie, you realize a few minutes later it's this pervert that comes in and looks in the change rooms.
Oh, that never occurred to me.
Well, that's what I thought. I was like, okay, this is grandma scoping out the scene. And it was interesting to me because immediately there's a kind of narrative structure to it. Unlike the comic where it's called Fuck My Son, but there's this old lady lying on the street. You don't necessarily know that she's bad until page 2. When she knocks him out, she knocks out Lulu.
It could be the pervert.
Yeah.
But I think from a narrative point of view, it's much more likely to be the monster, which is the mother.
Yes. Yes. But yes, exactly. So this is to fool the audience. Somebody's watching them, then a pervert comes in a change room, and the audience thinks that that's the one.
I got you. We were supposed to think that was the pervert. Right. Oh, we knew. Because we'd read the comic. I got you, yes.
So we knew that it was the grandma that was...
So it's a bait and switch.
Yeah.
We were meant to think it was the pervert.
Yeah.
But it was actually the grandma, and that's the reveal when she turns out to be bad.
That's right.
Got it. That's, again, clever film, language of film.
So in this change room, Lulu goes to try something on, and she leaves.
Well, she's called Sandy.
Sandy. Sorry,
we can change her name.
Right.
We can update her name.
Yes.
Perhaps we should have just called her Sandy in the comic. But here she's Sandy.
Yes, and she leaves Bernice sitting with her iPad. We see on her iPad she's watching this parody of VeggieTales called Meaty Mates.
On her iPad. On her pink iPad. With
super anodyne, stupid children's show. I remember when Ashton was young, there were a ton of these on TV, like, just weird conceptual... Canimals was one of them. They were like tin cans.
It's just these stupid kids, like, just get this shit out. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not Bluey. It's just some crap. Just get it out. Yep. Kids don't care.
Yeah. And while she's watching this, then we see this creepy guy come in.
What's he credited as? Filthy pervert?
Yeah, yes, that's right. Brian Connolly is filthy pervert.
Amazing.
Well, we should mention that Mother is played by Tipper Newton, which we talked about in the interview. She's been on 2 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Cool. Good. A working actress.
I know her from the Mindy Kaling project.
Yes.
That's what
She's
I
in
know
that.
from. Yeah.
She's just a great working actress.
Yeah.
She's really good in this.
Yeah.
I must say.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm not surprised to hear Todd Rohal say that they only had 1 or 2 takes. Sometimes I definitely got that she could have done with another take. But she gives a real powerhouse of a performance.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So the pervert comes in. Do we get a song and dance number at this point?
Well, we get a song.
Right.
It's an old-timey... I don't know if it might be a real song.
Okay.
It sounds like it's from the 1920s or something. It's all about, I'm looking at lovely you.
Oh, right.
And we've got our... Thanks for asking my question, Kumar.
Yeah.
I now know that they were hired from a modelling agency. They do fine. They take off their clothing. We also get some 80s boobs spliced in.
It's a real Porky's kind of moment where he's really looking through this eye hole.
Yeah. Breathing hard, like licking his lips, staring through this hole in the wall. The ladies take off their clothing. I keep mentioning 80s boobs because Todd mentioned 80s boobs. And he actually splices in some 80s boobs. Like some humongous ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, this modelling agency didn't have humongous boobs on the roster.
Right. But then this guy makes a mistake of looking over the partition at Sandy, and she freaks out. She runs out with Bernice, and we see that Bernice has shoplifted a couple of chains with their names on them.
Yeah.
And...
So they're necklaces.
Yes.
Necklaces with it has their names, essentially.
Yeah.
In metal.
Yes.
In gold, or, well, it's not gold, obviously. Like a charm necklace. And it's a touching moment. They're going to go back in and pay for them, but again, here we have the language of film. This is an establishing moment. The close relationship between mother and daughter. They love one another so much that they will wear necklaces with one another's names on them.
Yeah.
Because one says, I think Sandy's wearing the one that says Bernice,
right,
and Bernice is wearing the one that says mother.
Yes. But somebody in the background is crying, help, help, and it's this old lady that's fallen over in the parking lot, and she's like, oh, can you help me get over to my van?
Yeah.
And they help
Plays
her
that
up.
much as it does in the comic.
And she says, it's exactly like the comic. She says, my son can't help me anymore, he's sick, which is what she says in the comic.
I'm sorry, I'm a bit incontinent, that's why I'm smelly.
Yep.
Exact line.
Takes him to an alley where in the comic, we don't really know where the van is, because Johnny Ryan only draws a van.
Yeah,
he doesn't draw a street or a street corner or anything.
A van floating in white space.
There's a van floating in white space. Right. So she takes them, actually leads them down this alley, and then tases them, and then tells Bernice she's got to get into the sack. She doesn't just pick her up and throw her. She's like, you got to get
Naughty girls, get the sack!
Yeah.
She puts her in the sack.
Yeah. And then drives off.
We have a lot, we've muted a lot of the violence against children.
Yes.
Which yeah. You got to.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have to in this movie? I'm not sure, but they do.
It all pays off.
Yes, it does pay off.
There's a big payoff, but I think, it would be a lot to have Mum, she actually has a name.
Vermina. That's right.
Physically assault a child.
Yes.
They were trying, we know from the interview that they were very intentionally shielding the child actor from the more extreme elements of the film.
Right. So Vermina drives them off to this house, which is way out in the middle of nowhere. And
it's great. What a location. It was just some house he had access to in Texas.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's such a great setting, this farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. She drags Sandy out.
Just like in the comic.
In the comic.
Legs akimbo, much as she is in the comic.
Now, we get a slight difference, which is that Bernice escapes and runs off to this shed, this tool shed, and she has a vision of her meaty mates that come alive and talk to her and say, you'll be okay, and all this kind of stuff, and you just gotta have hope, or whatever it is.
They were painstakingly animated.
Yeah.
Using
over months and months.
Early procedural AI. Fascinating.
Yeah. Just months and months working on
to get this.
To make it look like a shitty Christian.
That is funny.
Cartoon.
I admire that. That's art, man.
Yeah, it really is. But she's found by Vermina, and then the camera kind of pans up or cuts away as we hear her getting beat up.
Yeah.
Wake up in the house. Just like in the comic. Sandy has been zip-tied around her neck to a post.
Yes.
And Bernice is in a cage.
Yep. We get the taffy. She offers the cake again.
The cake, yeah.
You know, Sandy's freaking out.
Yeah.
What's going on? Let me go, you crazy woman.
Yeah.
Smacks the cake on the ground. Yeah. And again, you know...
But we don't get the cigarette. We get a crowbar,
no
which maybe bashes her foot off screen. Like below the border of the screen.
She whacks her on the foot.
Yeah.
Because putting cigarettes out on people's faces is a lot. So
yes, it would be very difficult. Whereas it's very clever the way...
But also, it's not funny.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think it's very funny. It might be funny in the comic. I don't know. Write in and tell us. But on film, it would be a lot, I think.
I think it would be hard. It's also...
You could fake it. You just get an unlit cigarette.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's funny. Whereas whacking someone in the foot with a crowbar, I think you can play for laughs.
Right. Okay, so we get the boiling water again. Mm-hmm. She pours it on
Bernice.
But as I mentioned in the interview, now Bernice has a vision of her meaty mates.
Yes.
And they tell her, you don't feel any pain.
There's one of them hops up on her back and shields her. And he's like cooking in the hot water and he's fine with it because he's a sausage.
Yes.
It's quite cute and kind of funny.
So now she's not feeling any pain. This little kid's in a cage, but as an audience, we're told that she's not feeling any pain.
Again, I think this is some smart filmmaking. We'd check out, I think, if there was too much child suffering.
Yeah.
I think this is clever.
Yeah. Vermina's gives her the rules. Now, I want you to fuck my son. Yeah.
You're gonna get my son's cock hard.
Yeah.
She's sitting there smoking. It's a funny scene.
Yep.
This is all gonna be bareback.
Sandy refuses again. And this is when Vermina throws the cage
across the room. Yeah.
She doesn't break her arm in this version.
No.
Again, it's a little bit softer.
And also, importantly, the cage lands behind the kitchen bench.
Yeah.
So that we have a separation between our child, and you discussed it in the interview, between our child actor and the terrible events that are occurring on the other side of that kitchen island.
Interestingly, there's no fork in this version. There's keys on the wall, which she spots at one stage.
Great. Good. Yes. Why are the keys important? Is she handcuffed? No, she's not.
It's for the truck.
Right.
The van that she takes later.
So she's combined, he's combined two elements here, which is not the last time he does this, actually. Mm. He's simplified the storytelling by combining here the fork.
Yeah.
Instead of the fork, it's doing double duty. For some reason, I thought did she need to get out of the house? It seemed like it was doing two jobs. I
don't think she needs to get out. I think it's just for the van.
Okay.
Because the thing is, in this version, in the comic, she runs out to the road, and then they're trying to hail down a car. They're trying to get somebody to stop, and finally the police car pulls up. In this version, they're very far from civilization.
Yeah.
There's no chance of that.
They actually drive for ages.
She drives away in the van with the key, and she uses the keys to stab Vermina, I think.
Yes, she does.
So,
okay. That's the simple thing. It's both a weapon and a means of escape.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So they wheel out.
Out comes Fabian.
Yes.
He looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, played by Steve Little in this enormous suit.
As we heard, this was designed and applied by Robert Kurtzman.
Yeah.
A god.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in effects.
Yes.
Incredible that they got him.
Yeah. Yeah, really. He's up there with your Rick Bakers and all those guys. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This version is, as I mentioned in the interview, a lot more intelligent. He can speak.
Yeah.
Also...
A lot of it all ad-libbed, right?
Yes, that's right.
Because he's just I could just sit here or I could say stuff.
Yeah.
It's say stuff. Saying stuff turned out to be much funnier.
Yeah. But there's some weird...
I was so pleased to hear, you and I driving home both thought he looked like Sloth.
Yeah.
And talked like Sloth.
Yeah.
And it was so...
validating
is the word, to hear that, yeah, oh man, they knew all along.
Yeah. Interestingly, it's the rubber suit is really gross.
Oh, it's so revolting.
But it looks like a rubber suit. It looks like the shit suit from Weird Science. It looks fake. right?
Yes, it does. It's still pretty grotesque.
It totally is. And as we were talking about after we saw it, when she reaches in, because actually she doesn't reach under blubber, unlike the comic. She reaches into a hole. He's got a hole, like this mutant hole in his body. The first thing she pulls out is a hot dog.
Yeah.
That's not in the comic.
It's a bait and switch because it looks kind of like a dick.
Right. But that was one of the grossest things I've ever seen in any movie. And yet, the suit looked, despite the suit looking fake, or maybe because, even though the suit was fake, I was like, whoa, this is, she's reaching into this rubber suit, and yet
fake
it was just
isn't
really...
quite right. It looks ridiculous.
Yes.
Like a caricature, but it's still a work of art, this suit.
Yeah.
It looks like someone, like an older movie, like an 80s movie where someone's put an enormous amount of effort into making a rubber monstrosity. So you would never, it doesn't look real, but it certainly looks visceral and unpleasant.
Right.
And they've painted it in all this ooze. They've added, we've got like blowfly sound effects, like there's flies constantly. He's burping and farting all the time.
Yes.
Not something he does in the comic.
Yeah.
She peels his nappy off, like...
Oh, that's not in the comic, and it's grosser than anything in the comic, almost. Maybe?
I found it, this was a challenge to watch. I can't lie. I was diverting my gaze.
The guy in front of me was covering his eyes and stuff, yeah. Like,
the
diaper
visceral
was the grossest, and the stains
on the diaper, like stringy goo coming away as peel it away. It was a lot.
Yeah.
Then he's got his disgusting hole, his portal to of horrors.
Yeah.
She's digging she's digging around. We get her spewing. She spews like she does in the comic.
Yeah.
That classic effect. They put a pipe behind her head, and it's just
yeah.
So it's not realism.
Yeah.
People don't spew like that. This is hilarious projectile vomiting like The Exorcist. And, she puts her hand in, first comes out the hot dog, then comes out the bugs.
Yeah.
Bugs means you're getting close.
Yeah.
And, Fabian actually has lines like, I like bugs.
Yes. He also says a line about the diaper later on, like, you took off my diaper.
Yeah.
When he's talking about how much he loves her.
You take off my diaper every day.
Yeah. Yeah. At what stage does the 12-foot penis
it's
hit
not
the
12
light?
foot yet. Oh, that's much later.
Oh, it's much later? Okay.
Yeah, when she does... Oh, much later?
But she does the dance. Now, we have different music this time.
Well, we got to backpedal. She finds a penis eventually.
Yes.
And it is not like the penis in the comic.
Right.
I saw a review described it as a Lovecraftian tentacle, which is exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's a tentacle.
Yeah.
It's horrifying. It's covered in warts.
Are they even warts? As some mutant being?
Yeah.
This creature
doesn't look like...
He looks like the Dunwich Horror. Ring that bell again.
You can't see the Dunwich Horror. It looks like the Dunwich Horror when you chuck the powder on it.
Right. But isn't Dunwich Horror some, kid that's mutating or something?
We love the one. The Dunwich Horror's brother. Looks like him.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
So... this penis is horrible. It's got a... Yeah, it looks like an octopus's limb or something. Really terrible. Sandy's horrified.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's like, now you gotta get it hard.
Yeah.
So she does her striptease again. Yeah. Except this time, we couldn't get the rights to Susan Boyle. so now we're gonna do... it's Figaro. It's an aria from Figaro, The Marriage of Figaro.
Right.
Sorry, The Barber of Seville.
Okay.
Not The Marriage of Figaro, The Barber of Seville. Figaro! So she's doing a striptease to that. He's, I guess, kind of
this was one of the 3 blind tenors? Was that what this was?
Right, so it's a combination gag. The 3 tenors combined with one of the... not one of the 3 tenors, but there is a tenor who's blind. And then you've got the 3 tenors from the 90s. And they've combined them together to make them the 3 blind tenors, like the 3 blind mice or something like that.
Right. This is a thing that will run through the movie.
Yes. Again, so here instead of Susan Boyle and Queen Latifah as separate gags, we combine them both into a running gag about 3 blind tenors.
Yeah. So at some stage during the striptease, she grabs the keys.
Yes.
And she manages to stab Vermina.
She stabs her in the eye.
Yeah.
She knocks her gun out of her hand, stabs her in the eye, gets Bernice out. Does she need to unlock the crate with the keys, maybe? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So she and they flee in the truck.
Yeah.
Don't worry, honey, we'll be home soon, or we're getting out of here. Then they see a cop car. So, of course, she thinks, salvation.
Yeah.
But, of course, we know, having read the comic,
Yeah.
that this is not bad news. But instead of Ji-woon, the Korean cop, out comes this goofy-looking dude.
Officer Lee. Yeah.
This goofy-looking guy. He's worked with Todd Rohal before, right? Is that right?
I'm not sure. This guy, I'm not sure. Definitely Steve Little, who plays Fabian, and Vermina, Robert Longstreet have. And Tipper Noon has at least once before.
Oh, okay. So perhaps he hasn't then, but he's the exact opposite of the cop in the comic.
Yeah.
It's always it's got to be deliberate.
Yeah.
He was kind of like...
Yes. Okay, so this is the thing, is in a Johnny Ryan comic, when it turns out that he is the father, it's a real shock, actually. But here we're playing a horror movie, and as soon as you get on the road, it's a dark road.
Yep.
And there's spooky music.
Yep.
You're suspicious of this guy immediately.
Yeah.
We're in...
Also, he's much more aggressive and confrontational than Officer Lee is.
Yeah.
Because Sandy has a gun. Yeah. And he's, in the comic, Officer Lee just asks her, like, kind of nicely to put it down.
Yeah.
Here, he's, like, taking cover behind the car door. He's pointing a gun and he's like, put that down right now, and then I'll listen to what you have to say. So it's much... you think, this is America, she's going to get shot. Yeah. This is frightening. This is a frightening encounter with authority. Then Sandy has the great soliloquy of the movie. She has about a 2-3 minute rant where she talks about what she's just experienced. Mm-hmm. This woman! She's great. Absolute powerhouse performance.
Yeah.
She made me fuck her son!
By the way... with Tipper Newton, like, in her underwear, outdoors, for probably a couple days of shooting this business.
I have amazing respect for Tipper Newton. Absolute amazing delivery.
Yeah.
In her underwear.
Yeah.
Must have been a hard scene to shoot.
Yeah.
And we know there weren't many takes.
Yeah.
So my hat's off to her.
Yeah. This guy, Officer Lee's like, okay, get in the car.
He looks the exact opposite of the guy from the comic.
Yeah.
He was like tall, young, handsome-ish Korean.
Yeah.
This guy is short, black, goofy looking, and wearing like a khaki sheriff's uniform.
Yeah.
He looks like such a dork.
Yeah.
In other words, the least likely paramour for guy in drag parent of Newton's son
this
ever.
is a good question. Comic versus movie. Is Ji-woon less likely to be with Vermina?
He's less likely in the comic form because of the way Johnny Ryan draws him as a handsome Asian guy.
Yeah.
But a handsome Asian guy would look like a normal person in the film. Whereas this guy, he's extreme. Yeah. He's got an extreme body type. He's like small, gangly.
Yeah.
Black, of course.
Yeah.
It's so funny. He looks like a kid in his dad's clothes. It was some good casting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. So then they get the shock where they come back to the house and it's like, you're going to go back into that house and
fuck my son. You know what we haven't mentioned? The music numbers.
The music numbers. How could we forget? Almost any time we get the... when Vermina says, you're going to fuck my son, cut to musical number.
Yeah.
With the dancing naked girls that were in the change rooms.
It's like a music video. Agency,
where they show up. And then this time he comes...
it is like a music video, yeah.
He comes in, he gets his music video.
It's like a hip-hop.
That's right. And one of the points, then
there's a final one.
The peeper comes in and is looking through the wall. Maybe that's the last one. I don't know. But, yes, so the musical numbers, that's pretty important. You're right. So he comes back in the house. He's surprised to see Vermina alive again because...
he's been told she's dead.
Yes. I don't know why I keep forgetting to mention that detail when she meets the cop. But anyway... she's got a sanitary pad over her eye.
Just a good touch.
Is she angry about the CD? Is that what
she's angry about her 3 tenors CD is cracked.
Right, got it.
And here we have some motivation here. Again, this is an attempt to give the film a more coherent narrative. The motivation is her Three Tenor CD was signed by the three tenors. And when they signed it, the three blind tenors, and when they signed it, they told her, they gave her 3 pieces of wisdom, which summed up were basically, you got to do anything for your kid. Mm-hmm. The implication being that it's this piece of advice that inspired her to kidnap a woman so her son could get fucked.
Yeah.
So now we have, like, the overarching villains, I guess, which are the 3 blind tenors.
Yes. And there's no thing about Susan Boyle in the comic. It's just like...
No. It was
Johnny
just
Ryan randomness. Next thing.
Here we've got more of a running gag.
Yeah.
So she wants it to be replaced. You know, Sandy's like, I'll replace it. You know, I've got money. I'll buy you a new CD. I'll get it signed.
Yeah.
And will you get me a new eye too?
Yeah. And then throws Bernice into the oven in the
Superman.
scene where she zips across horizontally, straight across into the oven, and the door slams shut on her. And then she, like, locks it. And she's like, okay, now it's time to fuck my son.
Yeah.
All right. So now Sandy does it. It's actually...
Is this where he has the 12... I think this is when his 12-foot dick comes out.
Oh, maybe it is.
Yeah, I don't remember quite how she arouses him, but this is
maybe
the point.
Maybe it was the dance scene.
No, I'm pretty sure it wasn't then. I think this is where it goes up and hits the light.
By the way...
And there's electricity and
If
stuff.
people are wondering... Some of this stuff is in the trailers, including the 12-foot penis. So there's 2 different trailers on YouTube. Have a look at those. You'll get a sense of what this thing looks like and what the basement looks like and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And what the makeup, Robert Longstreet. By the way, Robert Longstreet was in Aquaman. His makeup is incredible. It made him look like this old.
He looks like an old woman. I wasn't even sure that. I mean, I knew that it. For a second, I was doubting. I was wondering, did I read the casting right?
Right.
Is this? Yeah, it's a great makeup job. On all the posters, he looks exactly like a grumpy old battle axe.
Yeah.
I think it's here when it shoots out and becomes 12 feet long.
Okay, but
it's not super important. But we get some dialogue.
I will say the movie version is less gross and more gross because we don't have the oral. We don't have Grandma. We don't have Romina spitting on it.
Yes.
How do you have?
We don't see
Sandy
any insertion.
No, we don't see the insertion. We do see Sandy really struggling to get it in. Then we get a great dubstep number.
Well, first we have the
love scene. The love scene. Yes.
The love scene. Because she's really turning it on and making him like seducing him, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And he has all these funny lines, the ones that will make you laugh in the cinema. Where he's like, "Oh, you took off my diaper.
Yeah.
Will you marry me?
Yeah.
Be with me forever." She's like, "Yeah, I'll marry you. I'll do all that." Then she inserts the tentacle. I think she's struggling at some point,
Yeah.
and Vermina's like, "Stick it in your ass."
Yeah. There's a bit of foreshadowing that we didn't have in the comic.
It is foreshadowing. Holy shit! Of course it is. That's why I brought that up.
Yeah.
Then the dubstep.
Crazy psychedelic sex scene.
It's like a music number again.
Yeah.
Like lots of crazy special effects.
Yeah.
Todd Rohal
Spinning
likes
lights.
his special effects.
Yeah.
Again, some funny lines. Like Fabian suddenly has a normal voice. He's like, "God damn, that's some good pussy."
Yeah.
And it's clearly like his fantasies though, because because Sandy's like passionately making love to him, which obviously she wouldn't be doing.
Yeah. And also we get cutaways to like some body doubles breasts in this sequence.
80s breasts again. I wouldn't be surprised if it was from Porky's.
Yeah.
We should have asked him. He spliced in clips from Porky's. We know he doesn't ask permission for this shit.
Yeah. And then he starts freaking out, right?
Vomits,
Yeah, he vomits. Something's gone wrong. Vermina says, "Get off of there." Hops off, and then they think he's dead. They presume he's dead, and then she runs off and turns on the oven, and now this girl who's been protected by the narrative of the movie and the way it's been filmed, we don't see her getting beaten, all that stuff, suddenly is blown up like a gremlin.
Well, we get a long sequence to lull us into, I guess, to make that blowing up. We get a really long sequence where, like, first we see the oven turned on, Sandy is screaming, then we see Bernice's point of view, the back of the oven becomes a portal to
heaven-ish.
Heaven.
Meat heaven.
Another dimension.
Yeah.
A kind of like a beautiful galaxy spinning and whirling. The meaty mates come out. They talk about the afterlife, how it's going to be beautiful, and everybody gets to spend time with the people they love, and so on and so forth. And you just have to abandon your...
She's going to a better place.
Yeah, you just have to abandon...
The movie's telling us? Yeah.
So she becomes a meat person.
Yes.
And she floats away and leaves her body behind. The body is waving too, so she's still incarnate in her body even as she's become a meat person. All of this is fine and lovely, and then we get a smash cut to outside of the oven and she goes splat and pops like a gremlin.
Yeah.
And it's very jarring.
Yeah. It's really pretty incredible.
And there, as you said, there were a lot of laughs in the cinema.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. I didn't think they were going to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to show that, but he did.
He did, and then Vermina notices that her son actually has a heartbeat.
Yep. Or that he's breathing. I think it might be that he's breathing. It was heartbeat in the comic, breathing in the film. Again...
but she just has some, meth around or something.
Well, he swiped it from the medicine locker.
Oh, he did, okay.
It's liquid. It's meth, not...
But she produces it. He doesn't, right? I think in the movie. She just says, I'll get that meth or something.
It was definitely from the evidence locker.
Right, got it. Okay.
Right. Here they inject it into his heart instead of his eyeball for obvious reasons. And, again, no effect. She berates her husband for a while. Then Fabian he goes nuts.
Yeah, rips off Dad's head and jaw as he does in the comic.
Just like in the comic.
Yeah. And then in the struggle, he doesn't tear off Mom's clothes, but she falls over somehow with her legs spread.
He shoves her over and she falls down.
Yeah.
And there's a prosthetic. The actor is wearing a prosthetic. How to describe it, Kumar?
Genitals?
Yeah.
It's a prosthetic vagina.
Yeah. And butt.
Yes.
Like an old lady below the waist prosthesis.
We get a real close up.
This is a horror. I could have...
Yeah.
Like you said, like Todd said, people were gagging every time anyone looked at this on the set. And I understand that. Because this is a horror I could have done without. But Fabian's into it.
No, yeah, Fabian goes berserk.
And it's like...
Yeah.
We see he's got like the gaze, the male gaze is like, wham!
Yes.
Straight in it. And then we get that he starts raping her anally.
Yeah.
We get a
By the way, I will say that the vagina in the movie is about as gross as it is in the comic. Like, it's one of the grossest parts of the comic.
Yeah, there's a whole... he dedicates a whole panel to her undercarriage.
Yeah.
Again, I could have lived my life without seeing any of that. They've got a great, clearly, run the camera and run the footage in reverse where they've, pulled the tentacle out of the prosthesis and then run it backwards so it goes...
Yeah.
Then he starts humping her.
Yeah.
She's not having a great time, screaming and crying out. Amusingly, the fat suit, or the Fabian suit that Little is wearing, has a small hole.
It seems like I think we were speculating that was a last minute, just an afterthought. Maybe we should give him a butthole.
It was either an accident or a last minute. Either's great explanation. Because it's clearly not deliberate.
We never see his butthole in the comic, I don't think.
Nah.
No.
Because he's a giant pile of shit.
That's right. Yeah.
I liked this. This amused me. He's humping away. Again, Sandy kicks the gun away.
Okay, yeah, right. This is what I can remember.
You know what? Why don't you fuck your son?
Yes.
Which is a less kind of impactful line. But again, perhaps you could have...
But maybe only if you haven't read the comic.
Right.
I think.
Right.
It's fine for it to have one interpretation, I think, in the movie.
And here, Sandy, again, turns on all the gas and lights a cigarette and smokes it.
But she's in the room... Well, she goes out, right?
And then goes back in.
And then she goes back in, and then she turns on everything.
Yes.
They're still screwing. She had a chance to leave, but she sits down, she lights a cigarette.
She's got nothing to live for.
She's got nothing... And so the place is, blows up with her inside.
Yes.
So she doesn't bang her head on the car, and we think, is she dead? For one panel. But then we get the...
Now Todd Rohal gets greedy and has two endings.
Yeah.
So we've got the first one where she's in the hospital. She's completely bandaged up because she has total kind of burns over all her body. how the nurse somehow knows. Did they find the melted Three Tenors
I don't
CD?
remember, yeah, something like that.
So he knows that he thinks she's a fan the way he is.
Yeah.
And he's arranged for the Three Tenors to meet her. There's a very kind of like long scene where they sing and they give her the advice they give the same advice to her that they gave to Vermina.
Because she says a similar line that she gave to Queen Latifah about how my
daughter
couldn't be here because she's dead. Yeah.
And they're like, a mother must do anything for her child. And then she tells the tenors to come closer, closer, closer. And then she becomes a goblin. This is, as you pointed out, this is the only really genuinely supernatural moment.
I think the hole in his body, the genital hole and the giant penis are also, the prehensile penis are also. But
that's within the bounds of, I suppose, a mutation.
I'm wondering why she had red eyes and fangs at the end. And I actually started to wonder if, this is crazy speculation, or headcanon, that she was infected by Fabian when she had sex with him, with whatever supernatural mutation he had.
But he's not a red-eyed, befanged monster.
It doesn't quite add up.
It's just some craziness.
Yeah.
Then comes, I think Todd Rohal mentioned that people have their preferred endings. Mine would be the second one, which I think is much funnier and less stupid blind tenor jokes in it. Here, this is where we see some found footage guys. Are they found footage guys or urban explorers? They're podcasters. Like us.
Yeah.
Or vodcasters.
Yeah.
They visit urban haunting locations and, wander around breathlessly saying, oh, this is the room where it happened. So they're visiting the murder house where the demented mother kidnapped a woman and made her fuck her son.
Yeah. By the way, this ending is completely invented whole cloth.
Yes.
Unlike the previous one, which has similarities to the Queen Latifah ending.
Good point.
This one is the horror movie ending for a horror movie.
This is the equivalent of Carrie's hand coming out of the grave, unlike the weird action movie closure one that appears in the comics. Yeah, this is, again, why I think maybe it's a better fit for the film, the horror comedy film. These goofy idiots with cameras pointed at their faces, wandering around in the basement, and then, of course, Fabian is still alive. He's got horrible burns, but he still wants to fuck. Because he rapes one of them. Goes all the way through, actually. His tentacle cock comes out the guy's mouth, jizzes in his eyes.
Yeah.
It's all very,
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the film ends.
Yes.
Oh, incidentally, this guy who's getting raped to death sees the same. He's looking at the oven where the little girl died.
Yeah.
And he sees the same portal to the afterlife.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're about to die, you will see the afterlife in that oven.
And then you become a meat person. Because he becomes like a meatball.
Right.
And bounces around.
Oh, right. That's right. God,
that's what
much was going on.
That's what we got to look forward to.
End credits. One of our favorite things. We get panels from the comic, which we have not had in a very long time.
I almost forgot. That was cool.
To have actual panels side by side.
Yeah, with pictures of the actors.
Yeah,
really
it was
cool.
really good.
Really cool.
Yeah. Okay. So I spoke to Todd Rohal, but did you find anything else? Any trivia of note that we should add to the...
No, there are plenty of interviews with Todd online, but we got the straight goss.
Cool.
The straight dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not really worth rehashing any of it. IMDb quotes, I don't know how much it cost, but we know it costs less than $600,000.
That's right.
IMDb quotes a box office figure of around $50,000. I don't know.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, this seems to be something of a hit.
Weird.
In terms of people will go and see, it's showing in cities in the States.
Yeah.
It's showing here in Australia.
Yeah.
We went and saw it last week, at the Cinema Nova in Carlton. It was well attended, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think they're doing 3 or 4 nights there. Yeah.
It seems it's one of those internet buzz, word of mouth things.
Yeah.
Certainly that was the case with us. There was Instagram posts that I was seeing on Instagram before we went and saw it with that, people, they had the cutout.
Yeah.
You could pose with the cutout.
Yeah.
We both posed with the cutout.
Yeah.
So I think when it showed in New York, it did on 4 cinemas in New York. I think after it had opened I think the Toronto Film Festival.
Yeah.
It did quite well, made like 10 grand on 4 cinemas.
Yeah, right.
Which is pretty damn good
Yeah.
for a weekend. So I hope, long may it live.
Yeah.
I think making this film you're hoping, you're aspiring to make a film that's going to be shown at midnight for years to come.
Yeah.
You know, like The Room, like the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
So, you know, long may it live, that kind of... If it were as profitable with as The Room, my goodness.
Yeah.
That would be something.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, there was one bit of trivia. After the interview, I had forgotten to ask him, did you make or encourage the cast or crew to read the comic?
Ah, good question.
And he said, yes, I don't think any of them could resist not reading it.
Yeah. I mean, you can read it in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I read the whole thing standing
Yeah.
in horror.
Yeah.
Like walking in from my car after
Right.
you gave it to me. Yeah, you can definitely bang it out in under 10 minutes.
Okay, so let's do our ratings, I guess.
Groovy, you go first. I know you like these.
These
Johnny Ryan comics?
I like Johnny Ryan comics. I like lowbrow art. I know it's not for everybody. It is still transgressive and shocking for me, some of the material in his comics. But it's hard. You just always have to say it's lines on paper and try to not be shocked. It's almost a challenge to yourself. But I do quite like these, and I find some of those early Angry Youth comics are really pretty laugh out loud, some of them, I find. But again...
I read them too. I chuckled at times, but this kind of thing is not for me. You'll be unsurprised to hear. Yeah. I'm the David Stratton to your Margaret Pomeranz in this instance. Yeah.
how are you going to rate the movie?
It's not for me.
Okay.
I did find it a hard watch at times.
Yeah, well, it was for me too, but that's not... I wouldn't downrate it for that. It's a yay for me.
Excellent.
I did like it. Look, to anybody out there listening, you know what the title is. You know if this movie's for you or not.
Yeah, 100%.
It's that simple.
I think this...
if you're going in looking for Pink Flamingos, you will get it.
Yeah.
Or Greasy Strangler or Gummo or any of those movies.
Yeah, I mean, this film... I think Todd Rohal is positioning it in the lineage of... I read a number of interviews with him. He didn't specifically mention it in your interview, but, you know, like John Waters, a hero of his, positioning this film in that lineage of bad taste as art.
Yeah.
Also, like Troma.
Yes.
Again, low budget, low concept.
Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah. Deliberate trash.
As you know, envisioned as trash.
Yeah.
Although he did say he didn't want to make camp art. He didn't want to make a camp film. He wanted to play it straight the way like Troma or John Waters would. And it's up. I mean, arguably he succeeded. But this is not this. It's an A for me, but just because this isn't my bag, baby.
Right. Okay.
That's all.
Well, adaptation.
Yay.
Yeah.
Genius adaptation.
Yeah, I think
frankly.
this is one of our best.
One of the best for... Yes, definitely. I've been hinting at it all along.
Yeah.
At every point, Todd is making great choices to take what was stream of consciousness filth and give it structure
Yeah.
and movie logic.
Yes, I will say I think the way it is in the comic works in the comic. Like, I like this comic.
Right.
And for me, it's fine that it's so rapid and random.
Yeah.
And I like the way it's been changed into a 90-minute feature.
He's given it movie logic.
Yeah.
At every point, he's made clever choices to give it an arc, to give it structure.
Right, she gets revenge on the Three Tenors.
Yes.
That makes
And to give
sense.
it like a running...
Yeah.
Scenes lead from... It's pretty clever, I must say.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone could do better. I don't think Scorsese could do better. I don't think Spielberg could do better. There's only so many ways you could map a structure onto something as unstructured as Johnny Ryan's comic.
Yeah.
And here you go. He's the Da Vinci of our time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so just before we leave off, I do want to mention that Todd asked me to mention the film is screening next week in 15 cities in the U.S.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I'll drop the link for that. Hopefully there'll still be valid. But also follow Todd's Instagram because he's always posting dates on there as well. Okay, so please like, rate, review, subscribe, and share. You can contact us through the email address which is in the show notes, or you can send us a DM or leave a comment on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, YouTube, Reddit. All those links are in the show notes. And please join our Patreon at patreon.com/comicbookmovieoblivion, all one word. We have physical copies of Fuck My Son. We drove at Iran war gas prices to the Nova.
All the way to town.
Paid for tickets.
Yep.
We're paying money for all this stuff.
That's
so, right. And also we have to pay for hosting fees, all that stuff. So please join our Patreon. Absolutely helps. And you will get our side podcast once a month, Comic Book Movie Apocalypse, on there, which is comic book adjacent media and movies and stuff like that.
Brilliant.
Okay, next week.
It's Spawn, baby.
Yes, Spawn. Right.
We're driving again to see that.
We're driving. Iran war prices. We're going to drive across town to see Michael J. White hosting a screening of Spawn at the Astor. So we will have a report on that for you next week.
Libiamo negli eti calici che la bellezza infiora e là fuggevol ora s'inebria voluta Libiana i dolci fremiti che suscita l'amore poiché quello che ha da fare